like it. Wait a second, let me lock 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 it. He was running his mouth non-stop, that's why I dropped him. Speak low, boy, you whisper when you talking. Hit him with a right, you ain't left me no options. Had him like a cornball, that's why I had to pop him. Like a chain around my neck, I had to put him in a coffin. Started waking up to the same old shit. The world in my hands, if I could just get a grip. Too much for me to handle, had to strengthen my wrist. Easy to dismantle when you build it brick by brick. If you bad man, then I'm robbing. Did I start a motherfucker run me your pockets? Hurry up, we ain't like jogging. I'ma make your mother have that declutter your closet. Wait a second, let me lock it. 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 I just met a kinky bitch that she got me in bondage. Oh shit, now I'm hooked on Fondays. No booth, baby, this straight cornet. I get it wet, let it study hydroponics. I ain't worried about no felony, cause I'ma make my bitch register my gun for me. Just on my gram, baby. Just tryna make 100 grand, baby. If you bad man, then I'm robbing. Did I start a motherfucker run me your pockets? Hurry up, we ain't like jogging. I'ma make your mother have that declutter your closet. Wait a second, let me lock it. 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 Listen, don't fuck up my image, listen. Yeah, I caught that pussy slipping, wishing that he never had a sentence missing. On that grave that I'm pissing. I ain't sorry cause I cut that pussy boy. Tell him don't talk, don't get destroyed. I be playing with my stick, need more. Apologize for the boys get deployed. Wait a minute, yeah, I thought I was finished. I dropped the roof, now it's missing. How about the coot, now the chicken? Extend the clip, don't maybe get it twisting. Love is moving slow, now the shit go fast. I'm trying to look bad, might get whiplash. Boy, so I like big bags, and I like freaky bitches with a real fat ass. What's this? Okay, bad bitch, she should go both ways. She wanna fuck me, tell her touche. I want head, bitch, give me toupee. I make money and I make mistakes. All my life, yeah, they gon' have to wait. Bone break, need an X-ray. Close case, cause I never drop days. I made hits, yeah, they make
Hello. Howdy. We are going to be doing some fun stuff today. Shut up. Hold on a second here. Trying to see if one of my mods will show up before we get going on anything. But we're basically just going to be chilling. We're basically just going to be chilling, redoing the office. I got some new, well, I also need to take down the Christmas tree. I got a new guitar rack that's behind me. I want to move some stuff around, and I figure what better time to do it than just sitting here chatting with everybody. Play Pinball Wizard. No. Can this thing just fucking work, please? Where's the widgets thing? Here we go. All widgets. Give me my widgets. There we go. This stupid fucking Streamlabs is being slow. There we go. No, we will not be playing Pinball Wizard today. I'm sorry. But there's a lot of stuff to do. Okay, cool. I did say I was waiting for a mod to show up before we get started on anything. Now the question is, do we want to watch a video while I do this? Do we want to just listen to music and chat? Because obviously I won't be playing any games because my hands won't be on the mouse and keyboard for a majority of the stream. So I was debating on videos. I don't exactly want to do like a media share stream, but kind of something just to like listen to while we're working. Like I'll keep it on small screen while we're doing stuff. You know whose new video I haven't watched yet, actually? Speaking of watching videos. I haven't watched Summoning Salt's new video yet. The history of minus world speedruns. I have not watched that yet. I completely forgot that it even came out. So what are we thinking? Well, do you want to at least start with background noise of the Summoning Salt video, and then we can go from there? Just because I'm behind on it and I want to watch it. Or listen to it at least. Give me a chance to try out my new Bluetooth headphones, actually, on stream. They're noise canceling, so I can't hear shit whenever I have them on. Oh no, now you can't hear shit. Hang on. Okay, there you go. Now you can hear the same thing I can. All right, cool. I just gotta remember, whenever I use these headphones, I just gotta remember to switch the audio on OBS so you guys can actually hear too. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna switch this over to here. And vice versa. Okay, no, so it's gotta be right there. There, we'll have it like that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start this Summoning Soul video, and I'm going to start working on the office. I will keep talking as we do it. I'll pay attention to chat, but then we'll go from here. I just want to watch this video at the very least, and we'll go back to music and just fucking around and all that, but Summoning Salt.
You might be familiar with the
Jesus Christ, hang on.
minus world. It's the most famous glitch in gaming history. In the original Super Mario Bros., if you clip into the wall at the end of 1-2, you can enter a warp pipe before
There we
it's
go.
properly loaded in. Instead of taking you to World 4 like normal, you're taken to World -1. It's an underwater stage that resembles level 7-2 from the main game. Now, the Minus World itself isn't the most
Okay.
exciting level, just your standard
First things
water
first,
stage.
I gotta
And
empty
when
out
you
this
get to the
dresser
end,
over here.
You're sent right back to the start.
Oh, hang on,
It
let me...
loops forever with no actual end.
There you go.
The Minus World appears in nearly all re-releases of Super Mario Bros. And is identical in most of them. But there's one huge exception. In
Candy
1986,
canes.
a year after the game's release, it was ported to Nintendo's new add-on in Japan, the Famicom Disk System. And while the Minus World is present, it is totally different.
Minus
There's
World,
not
let's
just
go.
-1, but also -2 and -3. Glitched out levels that actually have ends. And in addition to being way cooler, it makes for an amazing speedrun.
This thing is broken.
Players have competed with each other to get to the end of -3 as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
They found some brilliant strategies to do so, and it's led to one of the most optimized speedruns of all time. Let's take a look at how we got there. This is the crazy history of Minus World ending speedruns.
We love summoning Salt, but I'm pretty sure his music gets copyrighted if you don't have permission to use it.
And now a word and month's personal theme.
I'm not
Denny
sponsored,
has a deal
though.
with 5money.com to get out of the way. Salt to get started for free. Thanks again to Rocket
Not
Money for
sponsored.
sponsoring this video.
Not me, though.
Okay, first question to get out of the way. Does this really count as a speedrun? Are you actually beating the game? Well, no, you're not actually reaching the end, defeating Bowser, and rescuing the princess. But if you reach the end of -3, the game does act as though you've beaten it. You're sent back to the title screen, and once there, you can play Second Quest and select a world with the B button. These are both features that are only unlocked once you beat the game. So, as to whether you're really beating the game, that's up to you to decide. And if you'd like
Alright,
to
stuff's
argue
gonna have to
about
go
it
under
in
my
the
desk 'cause
comment
I'm
section
working.
below, please feel free. But either way, it makes for a sick speedrun. It may seem trivial, but the saga that's about to unfold is anything but. And the origins of the category come from the year 2013, when a game collector named Oatax purchased a Famicom Disk System. He had seen
Dang.
tool-assisted speedruns of Minus World ending from players named Phil and Happy Lee, and decided it would be fun to try it in real time. So on September 9th, 2013, Oatax performed the first ever speedrun of Minus World ending, clocking in at 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Speedy,
There are
damn.
only 5 levels in this speedrun. 1-1, 1-2, -1, -2, and finally -3. So you have 5
plug
levels
for
to
this out.
optimize as much as you possibly can. Here's how Oatax went about doing that. In 1-1, he ran ahead and picked up a mushroom. This was so he could do the Minus World clip later, which is only possible with Big Mario. He quickly finished the level
Big
and
Mario,
entered
big
1-2,
man.
where he picked up a fire flower. This let him clear enemies out of his way so he could make it through the stage while barely hesitating.
Come here, printer.
Finally, it was time to go to the Minus World. He came to a
boy's got a
stop on
printer
top
in
of
his
the pipe,
office.
then carefully crouch jumped into the corner. For details on why this works and why the Minus World even exists, check out this video from Cosmic. But basically, Mario lands on a specific part of this block where he can stand. After that, he's able to run right through the wall. Oatax did that, killed the piranha plant, and then was off to the Minus World.
Off to the races.
Level
No!
-1 is pretty strange. It's like level 1-3, except underwater with enemies from a castle level, complete with Princess Toadstool and Bowser. It makes for a convoluted looking stage, but the speedrun is pretty straightforward here. Oatax simply dodged enemies and swam to the end, reaching the underwater flagpole. Next up is -2, a stage identical to 7-3 from the main game. Oatax had to run across the bridges while being careful to avoid flying Cheep Cheeps
Imagine
and
printing
Koopas.
things potentially even in
Sometimes
3D.
Cheep
I
Cheeps
have
can
a
get
3D
in the
printer, I
way,
just
but
haven't fucking
Oatax
used
handled
it.
it beautifully and beat the level while barely hesitating. And now for level -3. This one is really weird. It's an underground version of the 4-4 castle level with underwater enemies like bloopers. Now normally, 4-4 is a maze where you have to take the correct path. If you take one of the top paths, you loop
Darn it,
back
hold
to
on.
the start. But in -3,
Sorry, my brother called. Asking questions about the car that's under both of our name that I drive.
that pattern isn't active, and the top paths instead lead to a wall. There's no getting through that. So, Oatax had to
It's fake,
navigate
YouTube.
his
You see
way
the
to
orange tip?
bottom,
It's fake.
then he was home
Also,
free
finger
to
not
run
on the
to
trigger,
end
gun
and touch
safety.
the axe. That's all it took. 5 levels, and Oatax was done in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. For the first world record of a category, this was already looking pretty optimized. He barely slowed down anywhere, never got hit by anything, and that's why it still stands as the record
I don't know.
today. Just kidding. He beat this run literally the very next day.
He said I could do better.
On September 10th, Oatax
He said that run was good, but it could be better.
improved his record by 3 seconds, taking it from a
Mr. President, a
245
second
to a
Nerf tortoise at the G
242.
Fuel.
The time save came from a couple spots. He grabbed the power-ups just the same, but at the end of 1-2,
A second
he
gun
came
has
to a
come out of the
stop and
drawer.
hit the minus world clip much quicker. It was enough to save him 5 frame rules. What's a frame rule?
A second gun has come out of the
last year,
drawer.
a YouTuber
Everybody's
named
done.
Beryllium or something like that tried to explain it, but he used bus skip, which is obviously cheating. So here's a proper explanation from the reigning record holder.
Okay, Reapers.
Super Mario Bros.
They're
Has
two
something
different
called
guns. I
the
wish they
frame
were
rule
matching
system.
pistols. That'd be
The
cool.
game can only send you to the
They do
next
not have
level
matching
every
pistols,
21
unfortunately.
frames, or every 0.35 seconds.
Oh, check out my
This
my
amount
Razor
of time
Huntsman.
is known as a frame rule. So in each level, you can only gain or lose time in frame rules, increments of 0.35 seconds. Imagine a bus at the end of every level that leaves every 0.35 seconds. If you miss one, you'll have
I
to
don't like
wait
this
for the
math
next one.
problem.
So that means if you want to save time in a level, you have to
Ian
be
doesn't
fast
like
enough
math.
to catch the next bus, or you won't gain anything. Oatax did the minus world clip fast enough that he gained an entire 5 frame rolls over his previous run. -1 and -2 were completely identical to the record, so entering -3, he had exactly a 1.75 second lead. But in -3, the frame rule system doesn't apply, since timing ends immediately upon touching the axe. So every frame saved or lost counts in this level. And Oatax had a brilliant new strategy. Instead of navigating through the maze, he just jumped up top and ran on the ceiling, all the way to the end of the level. Simple, but effective, and it saved another
Simple,
second and a half. That was 2 records in 2 days for Oatax. For the pioneer of real-time minus world ending speedruns, he'd done an excellent
Got him.
job. No mistakes, some clever strategies, and fantastic execution, culminating in a time of 2 minutes and 42 seconds. How much more could you really save across just 5 levels? Well, more than you might think. Just a month later,
Speaker.
Oatax's run was beaten by an entire 5 seconds.
Well, I love how much
The runner's
difference.
name was Saradoc.
I love how a whole 5 seconds can be make or break for any speedrun record. It's just insane how much of a, like, how much of a difference, even just 5 seconds, even just 2 seconds can make whenever you're going for a world record on a speedrun.
A year later, he'd go on to take the any% record from Andrew G. But
I did
now,
it! I
in
beat it by a
October
second!
2013,
And you're
he was
celebrating?
just starting out.
I
He had
understand
some
it's a big
ideas
thing,
on
but
how
it's
to
like,
improve the
we're
minus
freaking out
one.
over a second, brother.
The
Chill
first
out.
idea was quite simple. There was no need to pick up the fire flower.
5 seconds though,
While you
that's a
need
little
to be
wild.
big to do the minus world clip, the fire flower is just for clearing out enemies, so there was no actual need to pick it up. Seradoc's second idea came from Happy Lee's TAS of the category, a strange trick at the end of minus one. It looks like this. This is the full flagpole glitch. To end the level in Super Mario Bros., Mario first has to touch a flagpole and then touch an invisible block in the castle to trigger the timer countdown. First the flagpole, then the block. But in certain scenarios, it's possible to clip into this block and grab the flagpole at a lower height, then bounce out of it and contact this block instead. It instantly triggers the timer countdown, with no need to slide down and walk all the way to the castle block. Now, you can't
That's
just jump
insane.
and grab the flagpole this slow. You need very specific conditions for this to work. The most famous example is in 8-2, where you can bounce off a bullet bill just low enough to grab the flagpole in the block. Here, it's commonly referred to as the bullet bill glitch. But as it turns
Drinking
out,
some
it also works with
Crusader
swimming
Raid.
physics. By doing a frame
Caffeine
perfect
free,
aim
of
press
course,
on the way to
because
the
I don't
pole,
eat caffeine
you'll
in my
flip
life.
into the block and perform the
Unless I'm
full
drinking
flagpole
coffee.
glitch.
That's usually like my
And the
only
full
caffeine I
flagpole
give
glitch
myself.
saves 8 frame rules. This was too good to pass up.
Except for that energy
Seradok
drink I
began
drank just a bit
implementing
ago.
it in
I'm trying to like
runs, and on
cut
October
like
21st,
as much
he had a run to
caffeine as
-1
possible
that
out of
nailed
my
it. But
my
then,
diet.
This is the one problem with the full flagpole glitch. You have to land immediately next to
I
the
see that
flagpole
video
to
you sent me,
swim,
James. We can
or
do that
else
one
the
next.
timer ticks over to a 3, and you get 3 fireworks to waste a second. Saradoc landed just a tiny bit too far left, and it cost him a second. But it still netted him time
A
overall.
whole second.
And when combined with the fire flower skip, he achieved a huge new world record of 237. A few days later, Saradoc came back and played the same run, but skipped the fireworks in -1. The final
go back
time
like
was
30 seconds. Hold on.
235.99. Then the category settled down. Saradoc came time overall, and when combined with the fire flower skip, he achieved a huge new world record of 237. A few days later, Saradoc came back and played the same run, but skipped the fireworks in -1. The final time was 235.
I think I didn't go back far enough.
Then the category settled down for him. Saradoc began to form the full flagpole glitch. And the full flagpole glitch saves 8 frame rules. This was too good to pass up. Saradoc began implementing it in his runs, and on October 21st, he had a run to -1 that nailed it. But then... This is the one problem with the full flagpole glitch.
Was that it? I
You
didn't
have
hear
to
it.
land
Oh, you know, I
immediately
did
next
actually.
to
The
flagpole and
duh.
swim, or else the timer
Okay,
ticks
now I
over
heard
to
it.
a
I heard
3,
it. I heard
and
it.
you get 3 fireworks to waste a second. Saradoc landed just a tiny bit too far left, and it cost him a second. But it still netted him time overall, and when combined with the fire flower skip, he achieved a huge new world record of 237.
run, so
A few days later, Saradoc came back and played the same run, but skipped the fireworks in -1. The final time was 235.99. Then, the category settled down for several months, as most players focused on the bigger name categories Any% and Warpless. But in 2015, Saradoc came back to -world ending. He managed to squeeze out one more frame rule in 1-2, and did a clip in -3 to get to the ceiling faster. These tricks saved about 0.7 seconds combined, and his final time was 235.27. By the time 2016 came around, -world ending had essentially been the same for years. Saradoc was still a record holder, and there was no obvious time save remaining. Yet, while that category had been stagnant, the rest of the game had been undergoing a transformation. A player came along and began laying waste to Super Mario Bros. Records, achieving times in all categories that were previously thought impossible. This player's name was Darbian.
What up, bro?
We're all just young boys on Twitch.
That April, he set a legendary world record in Any%.
There's my
A few months later, he got the Warpless record too.
Yes!
Eventually, he set records in the All-Stars version as well.
Done.
In 2016, Darbian was the premier player of Super Mario Bros. By that November, he had 4 out of 5 main category records. The only one he was missing was the Minus World ending, still held by Saradoc. Darbian didn't particularly care about this record,
I'm just waiting
but
for
he
the
was
Lego
also
Company
so
speedrun
close
video.
to a leaderboard sweep. If he could beat the Minus World record, then he would hold all 5 world records.
We have any percent. We did it. Congrats. Warpless. We did it. Congrats. Any percent All-Stars. We did it. Congrats. Warpless All-Stars. We did it. Congrats.
So, Darbian began practicing. Only problem was there wasn't much time to save over Saradoc's record. He hadn't left anything on the table, and there were no obvious mistakes. But Darbian eventually identified one spot where he could save time, on the axe grab at the end of -3. Saradoc grabbed it 1 frame too far forward, meaning timing stopped a frame later than necessary. If Darbian landed on the first frame of the axe, he could beat the world record by 1 frame. It wasn't much, but it would be enough to get the leaderboard sweep, and that's all Darbian wanted. On November 30th, he had a run with a fast clip in 1-2. Then in -1, he got the full flagpole glitch.
Got it.
After finishing -2, Darbian was tied with the record, just 1 more level to go. If he could get the wall clip and then get a better axe grab, he might be able to get the record here.
We tied it. Unless we got a better axe grab.
Darbian went to frame count the run. He looked at the axe grab, and it turned out he did indeed save that 1 frame. New world record, 235.26. Darbian was the undisputed champ.
It's
of
not
Super
Christmas
Mario
anymore,
Bros.
boys. We're taking
He
down the
officially
tree.
had the 5 out of 5 leaderboard.
Bye bye tree.
And the minus world ending
Everybody
record
say bye, tree.
seemed to be approaching the absolute limit. So now we were at a breaking point. Darbian got all frame rolls that Saradoc got and saved the frame on the axe. Where do we even go from here? Well, in 2017, that question was answered, because longtime runner Andrew G started looking at minus world ending. Andrew G is a Mario legend. He's best known for holding the game's most prestigious record, any percent, for 7 years straight.
Jesus
By
Christ.
2017, though, he'd been out of it for a while, having passed the torch to Saradoc and Darbian. But the game still piqued his interest from time to time, and now, minus world ending had his attention. As good as Darbian's run was, Andrew wondered if there was more he could get out of it. Perhaps these 5 levels weren't actually perfect, specifically level 1-2. Darbian picked up the mushroom in this level, and its only purpose was to make the minus world clip possible. If only you could go to the minus world as Small Mario. You could skip the mushroom altogether and save over a second. Well, Andrew G knew there actually was one way to do this. This is the 1-2 pipe clip.
The what? Where are we piping? Hang on.
This was first used in a 2004 task by Mana. It skips the mushroom and is the fastest way to get to the minus world. And the problem is it wasn't humanly possible. When you're running at a wall, it's possible to be barely outside it on one frame and barely inside it on the next. The game responds by ejecting you out in the opposite direction that you're moving. But if you switch to left on the D-pad once entering the wall, the game instead tries to eject you out to the right, effectively sucking you further into the wall. That's the basis of how the pipe clip works.
Suck.
You have to slow to
wall
walking
does
speed
a
just
suck.
before the pipe, press jump for just 1 frame so you don't go too high, then tap left at the correct moment to clip inside and eventually resume running. It was just too hard to string all that together, so real-time runners barely bothered looking at it. That is, until Happy Leap hosted a Human Theory speedrun of 1-2 that involved doing the clip from a save state. He clearly showed what inputs needed to be done, and while it was difficult, it was enough to make Andrew G think that maybe it was possible. And it certainly would be worth trying. The 1-2 pipe clip saves an entire 8 frame rolls, although you give some of that back in -3 by not being able to do the ceiling clip. If Andrew could hit this in a run, he could blow the door off the record, but actually hitting it was much easier said than done. After hundreds of tries, Andrew finally managed to pull it off, entering the pipe to the minus world. He was now nearly 3 seconds ahead of the record. With a lead this big, Andrew could afford to play the rest of the run super safe.
Alright.
So in -1, he
2
set up
steps
the full
done.
flag
Tree
glitch
down.
very carefully by walking up to the pole. It cost the second,
Throws are empty.
but he
Oh, hang on a
was still
second.
ahead
I need to get
overall.
my drill.
And in -3, he lost another second by having to navigate
Oh,
the
whoops.
maze
I
normally.
clicked on the wrong thing. Hold on. Gotta get my drill real quick. Wherever you're running to, run.
That still left him with a small lead.
I don't know. World record?
Yes, Andrew, a world record, 234.80. This is exactly what Andrew was looking for. He built a big lead with the pipe clip, then bled just enough time to still beat Darbian. There was a decent amount of time save possible in -1 and -3, but just getting the 1-2 pipe
Smoke a
clip in
little
a
bit real
run
quick.
was hard enough, and Andrew decided he was done for now. He moved on, and the minus world record stayed put at 234. A few months passed with nobody trying to challenge Andrew's record. The main reason was the pipe clip. Even though it was only a minute into the run, it was still out of reach for most players. Few could do what Andrew G could do. But if someone else could pull it off, then improving the rest of the run wouldn't be too hard. It all came down to one question. Who else could get the pipe clip? Well, in August 2017, 4 months after Andrew G's 234, a couple new contenders emerged. They weren't record holders like Andrew, but they were very good players in their own right. And most importantly, after much practice, they were able to build a little bit of consistency with the pipe clip. Their names were Merrick and Solo Q.
Merrick! He's here for the Egyptian god
Merrick
cards.
was a
Get him
runner
out of
who
here.
Specialized in side categories, like Beat Stage 5-4 and All Coin Heavens. Solo Q was a top 10 any percent runner, with a respectable personal best of 457. Neither one had Andrew's speedrunning resume, yet they both felt like they could take his minus world ending record. Their plan was to match Andrew's run, but with the faster full flagpole glitch. If either of them could pull this off, they would get the first ever 233 in minus world ending history. By mid-August, Solo Q had moved into second and Merrick was in third. Both were making progress. The world record was within reach. On August 20th, Merrick had a run that lost a frame rule in 1-1, then had a slow 1-2 clip to lose another frame rule. Still, when he got the fast full flagpole glitch, he gained 3 frame rules. He was now ahead of Andrew. This was a guaranteed world record as long as he didn't do anything dumb in -3.
Guess what? He did something dumb.
New world record. Andrew G had been dethroned.
I thought he was
The
going to do
final
something
3 levels
dumb.
of the
I'm
run were
disappointed now.
amazing.
Turning the video off.
The
This
only
leg.
time save potential was in World 1. Weeks later, Solo Q aimed to pick up that time. He got the 1-1 frame rule, then a fast clip in 1-2. Now, if he could hit the full flagpole glitch, he'd be on 233 pace.
Dude, or is this actually it? Oh my god.
-2 went well, and although he lost a few frames in -3, Solo Q still closed out the run strongly.
It's world record.
This run combined the world 1 from Andrew's run with every frame rule in the minus world. It was, from Solo Q's perspective, essentially perfect. The only mistake he made was a few frames lost in the turnaround of -3. A while later, Merrick tried to save that time. He managed to match Solo Q's pace, but then lost the exact same amount of time in -3. He tied him. The world record was now 233.73, held by both Merrick and Solo Q. Mission accomplished for both players. As so often occurs
Skull.
in speedrunning, this peak
Or
of
the top of a
minus one
skull,
ending
top of a
competition
raccoon
was
skull.
followed by a valley of
That's got to stay
inactivity.
right there. So it doesn't
Over
get
on the other
broken or
categories,
any
the
piece
any
get
percent
lost.
world record had just changed hands again, going from Darbian
Found
to
it in my
longtime
backyard.
record contender Cosmic.
I need to go stick it out, stick it outside so it can
This
get bleached
wasn't
by the
Cosmic's
sun.
first record,
But there hasn't
he
been
held
much
both
sun
the
to work
90%
with.
and warpless records on multiple occasions. And now, after getting yet another world record, a third category started to pique his
I'm
interest.
going to commit
This
Funko
is
Pop
perfect
Blasphemy and
timing,
open
by
up the
the
ones
way,
I have in boxes.
Because today in the mail, I got my Famicom disc version of this game. It has the different minus world, so I'll be doing minus world, ending world record attempts.
This was gonna be good. No disrespect
I already
to
opened the
Merrick and
Sprigatito.
Solo Q,
He's over
both
there.
Great speedrunners, but Cosmic was a different beast. Time and time again, he'd
Alright,
beaten everyone else
Transformers,
and risen to the
come
very
here.
top of some quite competitive leaderboards. He was probably the absolute best Super Mario Bros. Player on the
Breakable stuff
planet.
goes on the desk.
Now, he was about to see what he could do to minus
Gotta find a
one
place to
ending.
put
And
sound
even though
wave
there's
too
only
whenever I
5
put everything
levels,
up.
Cosmic had a few tricks up his sleeve. The first trick was in 1-2. To get to the minus world, instead of using the pipe clip, Cosmic planned to do a wall clip. This looks like it shouldn't be possible. It all has to do with Mario's subpixel value. Mario visually moves in pixels, but his positioning updates more often than that. Depending on Mario's subpixel value, his exact
So,
position
custom beat 'em
slightly
on.
changes, and it alters how much he can clip into walls. Tiny things change his subpixels. When you press B, when you press
Figures
left
can
and
go
right,
up
and how
here.
long, practically anything when you're not at full speed. So,
How
runners
bobby
need
your
to
head
find
is. Why is your
subpixel
head so
setups to
bobbly,
make
but
wall
everything
clips
else is so
possible.
perfectly
And the setup
where it
for the
needs to be.
1-2 wall clip was found by someone named John Smith. Just kidding. It was found by XX420BlazeIt XX. BlazeIt's setup
You're
was
full
simple.
of shit.
You push B on the correct frame when starting the
What a
level.
gamer.
This always sets up your subpixels to make the wall clip possible.
What a
The wall
gamer.
clip was easier overall than the pipe clip, so Cosmic could get more runs to the minus world. Another trick he planned to go for, the flagpole glitch. This is a trick commonly used in top any percent runs, but
All my
hadn't yet been
extra
brought to
keyboard
minus
switches
world.
I have.
By doing a precise setup discovered by Sock Folder, you can clip into the
Sock-
base of the
I don't like the
flagpole
name
and
Sock
grab the
Folder. You
pole
can keep
lower than
that.
normal. This
Sock
triggers a
Folder, you stay on the
condition in
other side of the
game where
room.
The flag doesn't come down. You save one frame rule by
Those
skipping
socks are
that
starchy
animation.
when he folds them.
The flagpole glitch can be
Oh,
used
God.
in 1-1 and -2. It's similar to -1's full flagpole glitch, but is harder and doesn't save as much time. Speaking of the full flagpole glitch, Cosmic had a small improvement there too. He switched to holding down and right while approaching the flagpole. This made him slow down less when touching the ground, giving him a bigger window to land and still avoid fireworks. That's 3 new tricks Cosmic could use. Down plus right on the -1 flagpole, the 1-2 wall clip, and the flagpole glitch in 1-1 and -2. This all had major implications on the run. Here's a visual history of the minus world ending record up to now. You can see how runners chipped away over time until plateauing in the 233 range. But now, these new strats kinda changed everything. Thanks to flagpole glitch and a potential 1-2 time save, the human limit was a mid 232. There was a long road ahead to actually get there, but Cosmic could get it started right now. He got to work trying to implement as much as he could.
No way that just happened.
That'll work for now, I suppose. This is a light one. I'll put it on top of this.
I jumped. Holy cow. Good enough. Good enough. Good enough.
It took him just 3 days. The record was now a half second lower. The game didn't even know what hit it. Cosmic was way ahead on the leaderboards. Merrick saw what Cosmic had done. He was still interested in competing for the record, but the problem was the flagpole glitch. It's an extremely hard trick, with multiple frame perfect inputs and more. Cosmic had years of experience going for it in 80% runs, so it wasn't too hard for him to implement in minus world ending. But Merrick struggled with it. Although he could match Cosmic everywhere else, the flagpole glitch was different. He practiced the trick, yet couldn't build consistency with it. But there was another way Merrick could save time. If he went for the pipe clip and did it really fast, it could save a frame roll over the wall clip. That eliminated the need for the flagpole glitch. This was Merrick's path to beating Cosmic, despite playing from behind and not being a record holder. He'd need all of his capable frame rolls and a great -3. In March, Merrick started whittling down his personal best, slowly closing in on the record. And on the 28th, he found himself in -3, tied with the record. It would all come down to the turnaround. That was just about perfect. It saved 4 frames and was a new world record.
What?
Cosmic
You know I was
himself
doing all
was
this?
quite impressed. He'd flat out
Don't say
been
what the
beaten,
fuck like you didn't know.
but Cosmic knew he could still improve it with flagpole glitch. If he went for it in 1-1 and -2, he could even afford to lose the 1-2 frame rule. That August, that's the type of run Cosmic went for.
I'm over here
First, he
fucking the
tied
dresser
Merrick to
into
the
place.
frame,
What does it look
then he
like?
got a very low 233
I haven't
before
cleaned it
finally
yet.
getting the
Jesus,
world's
shut
first
up.
232.
40, you are in the way.
Perfect. Perfect speedrun.
Cosmic now had both flagpole glitches,
40, come
the
on.
pipe clip, the full
This
flagpole
way.
glitch, and a fast -3. It was now
on.
really hard for anyone else
Come
to
on.
compete with this. Only someone with a main
I think
category
I got
world
so
record
excited
could
we
pull off a
came back to-
232 in minus world ending. Cosmic was just flat out the best Super Mario Bros. Player, and as long as that stayed true, the minus world ending record was all his.
Yeah, because you always come in here and turn it off. I'm like, why are my lights working? I don't use a light switch anyway.
455. Oh my gosh, is it record? That might be record too.
This is Sumless, and on October 22nd, 2018,
No,
he
no,
took
no,
Cosmic's
stop it!
80% record.
Ew, shit.
Sumless was
I
a
love you.
gamer. He'd been battling for this record for months now, finally pulling
No, not
ahead and
yet.
cementing the top spot on the leaderboard. He had all the skills Cosmic had, and now, after taking his any percent record, he was ready to go after Cosmic's minus world ending
double
record
check.
too. Now, here's the thing. The only difference between the record and the human limit was
Okay, cool.
one more frame rule in 1-2. Cosmic played the pipe clip safe by slowing to walking speed early. If Sumwest went faster, he'd save 0.35 seconds. And that was it. The record got all other frame rules and a perfect turnaround in -3. It was really quite simple for Sumwest.
Next step
There was
is
only
cleaning this
one
guy off right
improvement
here,
to
this
make.
old thing.
His
I
perfect
actually
run
like that. That
would
looks
be a
nice on camera.
232
It looked nice once I get
40.
everything put back up on the wall.
Wes started playing for the record, and quickly he got himself a 233.5 with time losses in 1-1.
What do we think, chat? We like that so
1-2,
far?
And -3. Still, not a bad result for one day of work. He kept going, and minutes later, he got on another run.
and I get it.
I mean, it's my
I
office. It
don't
doesn't
know
matter. I like it, so fuck you if you don't.
Here we are, -3 on perfect pace. If Wes could play a good -3, then this was gonna be it.
Dust this off real quick.
Is this it? Is this gonna be it? With the cat troll?
It
I like the
was
crotch shot
over.
camera.
Some Wes had just gotten a 232.48.
I know it's for the
All frames
controller
were
view, but
matched,
it
and
looked like a
-3
crotch shot
was
camera to me.
perfect. The congratulations poured in as Some Wes celebrated with his cap. The human limit was officially reached, and this was the end of the minus world ending world record. At least, as it was currently understood. While the boundaries of the human limit seemed to be set in stone, maybe they could be adjusted. If a human viable time save was found, then the human limit would be lowered. We just have to find a
Alright,
new
record
way
player.
to save time.
We're gonna start putting
But
stuff
as
up
we
on top
know,
of here.
there's only 5 levels to search through. Is it actually
All right,
possible to
guys,
go faster?
real talk, real quick. I need you guys to see my whiskey collection. All right, so this is the one my brother got me for Christmas. This is a 49%. Where's the proof on this bitch? Yeah, I can't see the proof. But yeah, 40%. Two legendary creators behind some of the world's most revered whiskeys have come together to bring you something special. Expertly distilled by 7th generation master distiller Fred No and refined by world-renowned chief blender Shinjiki Fukuya. Celebration of the craftsmanship of Kentucky bourbon balanced with the artistry of Japanese blending. So it's a Japanese, it's a combination Japanese Kentucky whiskey. And I'm going to pour me a drink of this real quick because this is actually really fucking good. Like I said, it's 50%, so it's strong. But this shit is so fucking smooth, it's insane. So I'm gonna pour a shot. This is how I measure how much I drink. Because, you know, I don't want to just randomly pour into my glass. I want to know how much I'm drinking at a time. It's just smooth. Like, it's insane. It's this might be one of my new favorite whiskeys. Legent. Fucking awesome. It's like a $50 or so bottle. I'm gonna out myself. I don't drink that much, but I do enjoy my whiskey. I have this guy right here. This is like a cocktail pre-mixed, old fashioned. It's nothing special. Unlike, I also have Green River right here. Some Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. This stream's getting deleted probably afterwards. They don't like when you do this. Sour mash. So it's kind of like Jack Daniels, but tastes better. This is probably my favorite cheap drink I have. This is Scotch whiskey, Lismore. This is some really smooth stuff too, and this is only like $25 a bottle. Good stuff. My least favorite bottle I have right now is Basil Hayden Dark Rye. I don't like dark rye, not Dark Rye the Pokemon. Dark Rye. No thanks. I only mix that one in with that's my whiskey soda. That's my whiskey soda drink. This is my Amador. I almost forgot I had this one. 86 proof, 43%. I bought this one. I bought a bottle of this for my grandparents. Never had it before. They said they really liked it, so I bought myself a bottle whenever I found it on clearance. So yeah, this is another really good bottle. They'll all eventually be added to the bottle collection on this side. Anyway, yeah, that's my, oh wait, I also have my collection of whiskey glasses over here. Obviously, I'm drinking out of one, but I've got a collection of nice whiskey glasses. I got some more upstairs and a decanter with my Four Roses bourbon upstairs. Don't drink that much, despite how much alcohol I have behind me. You can see how full most of those bottles are. 3 out of the 5 I have right there, completely fucking full. Or most of the way fucking full. I enjoy sipping something on the weekend and occasionally just having a few drinks for fun. Everybody knows I like smoking the herbage more than I like drinking the alcohol. Anyway, moving on.
In any of them? Well, let's see what players currently did. In 1-1, players ran through without stopping, then did a flagpole glitch. No possible time save there. In 1-2, players mostly ran through without stopping. They technically slowed down a tiny bit for the pipe clip, but not much. There's no quicker way to get through the wall to the minus world. In -1, players swam through without stopping, then did a full flagpole glitch. No way to improve over that. In -2, players ran through without stopping, then did a flagpole glitch.
I should also say drink
no
or
improvements
whatever you do, drink, smoke.
That left
do
just
it responsibly.
One level, -3.
I don't usually go
This
out and
level
drink. I drink at
does
home so I
have
don't
the
get in trouble.
turnaround.
I'm a good boy.
You have to backtrack, so skipping that would save time. The problem, of course, is taking the other paths leads you to a wall. If only you could just go through the wall. You know, something like this.
Drink responsibly, please, if you're going to
Well,
do
hey,
it.
there's an
Especially
idea.
drinking.
This
You
is
can't do too
similar
much
to the
stupid
wall
shit
clip
besides
method in
eat too much when you're
1-2.
smoking weed.
You can partially land just inside the wall, then repeatedly jump to fully enter it. Now, for years,
fully
this trick
entering.
was known, but seemed out of the question. Players jumped at the wall, but never made it inside. But in 2018,
Damn.
420 blazed to the
Look
rescue.
familiar?
He found a subpixel setup. By buffering jump to start the level, then pressing B while Mario falls off the last step, you'll be able to clip inside the wall. It wasn't easy, but this setup made it a viable trick. It saved about half a second. The human limit.
I like listening to summoning salt videos so much. I think if any creator were to like use AI for their voice and me not care, it'd probably be him. He could do whatever the fuck he wants. He fucking cooks every month or two whenever he uploads. I don't give a shit. If he's got to do something to make it easier for himself, do it. I don't give a shit.
Limit had just been lowered again.
I just love to listen to this man talk for hours.
Glitches, the pipe clip, all the frame rules possible, and then hit the -3 wall clip, they could just barely get a 231. That's what SumWest decided to go for. The first step was making it back to -3 tied with the record, which wasn't easy. He poured hundreds of attempts in, trying to make every trick line up. Finally, a few weeks later,
we're
he had
touching the
another
Yu-Gi-Oh
chance.
cards now.
As he entered -3, if he could now hit the wall clip,
Why do I have
the
this empty
231
pack?
would be his. His game crashed.
No
-3
fucking
is
way.
pure evil. But he couldn't stop now. He'd come so close. SumWest kept trying, and
we
his
found a
attempt
toy to play
counter
with.
really started to pile up. A couple weeks later, he did finally get the wall clip on a run that lost the frame rule in 1-1
Yeah, we'll
for
put
a
this up.
small record. But a few hundred attempts later, SumWest had another golden chance. He picked up the 1-1 frame rule, then maintained his pace over the next 3 levels. Another chance at the 231, if he could hit the wall clip.
The fucking trauma from my attempts at playing Mario on stream and shit.
That was it.
Go back and watch those videos. I fucking hate
There
that
was
shit.
a chance to match the human limit, he was all over it. A run with all frame rules and the wall
I don't
clip.
mind Mario as like a game,
Now,
but oh my
there
god, that
is a
shit
tiny
really
gap
fucking
between
frustrated
this
me.
run and the human limit. And that's
See, my
because
human limit is
-3
playing
doesn't operate
Mario.
on the frame rule system. Every frame counts in this level. And while SumWest got a fast wall clip, it was technically possible to save a few
James was
more
there.
frames.
James knows what I'm talking about.
Depending on how you jump and the way you mash, it's possible for the wall to suck you in a bit smoother. So technically Wes's
Blow
run
his
was
head smooth
marginally
off.
improvable. The run was
Smooth.
roughly perfect, not literally perfect. Over the next several months, while there was a lot of Minus World ending activity, nobody could compete with SumWest. By early 2019, 3 runners had
clearly
tied
texted
Cosmic's
the wrong
second
number.
place run. GT Ace, Royal T,
No,
and the
let's talk.
former record holder Merrick. The main difference with these 4 runs is that they didn't go for the -3 wall clip, except for Merrick, who, as we know, didn't do flagpole glitches. Unless these guys were willing to implement a hard trick at the very end of the run, they wouldn't be able to catch Sumwes. Who would have the guts to go for it? Then, all of a sudden in January, the competition picked up again, and someone decided they wanted to shave off those last few frames.
Here we go.
This made sense. Cosmic had competed with West before, maybe he could do it again. And over the past couple years, he'd gotten even better at flagpole glitches. This time, he'd have to go for the perfect pipe clip and then an even faster wall clip -3. It was tough, but doable for a player of his caliber. Alright, Cosmic, let's see what you can do.
Look at that green split.
Why? I don't know the problem. Okay.
We like green splits.
It's nice when you get a second shot at life.
You get a second shot at life. Jesus.
No. They're so close.
I gotta figure out where to put these
They're so
bombs,
close.
because I
You
don't want to
just
leave
didn't
them
get
all on
running
camera.
speed.
This would have been it.
This will
but
be
he
fine, I
couldn't
think,
build
right here.
running speed before jumping out of the wall. It ended up costing him the record. Shortly after this, 420 Blaze It came back and made yet another huge
I do have
discovery.
quite a few pieces.
It was a
so I
faster
just don't wanna leave them
subpixel
on
setup
camera
for the
too
wall
long.
clip. You do a full
Moving
jump off
shit
the last
around.
2 frames of the block, then let go of B in the air and repress it the frame after landing. It was harder than the old setup, but saved an entire 8 frames. This pushed the human limit to the 231.8 range, and raised the stakes for
Alright,
competition.
now we're gonna wipe this one
Then,
down.
another of the tied runners decided to try making a move, GT Ace. GT Ace had never held the any percent record, but he still had a pretty incredible track record, being the former Warpless world record holder. After setting a personal best only 3 frames off Sumwes's record, he managed to hit the faster subpixel setup in a run. Now, if he could get a good clip, this would be a new record. It wasn't a great clip, but thanks to the 8 frames saved on the setup, he wound up beating Sumwes by 1 frame, just a tiny bit closer to the human limit. It was around this time that yet another runner started going for the minus world ending record. He was an up-and-comer with a lot of talent. If he could get this, it would be his first ever Super Mario Bros. World record. This runner's
See if we can
name
pick this up without
was
breaking it.
Niftsky.
Okay, cool.
Like the normal minus world, it's an infinite looping water section.
Niftsky felt that with Blazit's faster
Can I
setup and
pick it up
a good
without breaking
clip,
myself?
the time around 231.8 was realistic, but he'd have to beat out players like Cosmic and GT Ace to do it, both tried and true record holders. Still, Niftsky's flagpole glitch and
Oh,
pick
that looks
clip
nice.
consistency was pretty good. He just had to make it to -3 with a chance, and on February 11th,
Here, let
he'd get
me-
his shot.
Well, get ready. My desk is dirty. Oh, that's not a good angle, is it? Let me undo these cords. Hold on. Oh yeah, here we go. Look at the side boob real quick on my shirt. That's cool. That's exactly what we want to see, gamers, right? Oh fuck. Upside down. Boom. That thing was over there. It is no longer there. It is now there. There you go. I attempted to show it off. An attempt was made.
Yes! Please, dude. Please. Wait. Dude, that was it! But I hit the timer! That was it! That had to be it! That had to be it! Oh my god!
This was an amazing wall clip. When combined with a faster setup, it was a big cut off the record. Although he stopped his timer early,
All right,
the run
next
was
we gotta
quickly
go ahead
retimed
and
as a
build the thing.
231.80. Once again, roughly matching the human limit.
Once I have all my
This didn't
surfaces,
stop
I can go
there.
ahead and start putting
Later,
I can
Laser
start putting
found yet
everything back.
another faster subpixel setup that shaved 4 frames off the human limit. Guess what Nifsky did next?
Guitar stand.
Oh my god, was that it? There's no way.
Other runners tried to compete with Nifsky. Cosmic, GT Ace, and Scrimzian all had runs that got the wall clip on pace. But time and time again, they were just a bit too slow. And instead, it was Nifsky finding faster setups and getting the wall clips.
Oh my god!
Go build.
Yes! Yes! Oh my god!
By late 2020, Nifsky had taken the time down to 231.65, and this time, the human limit was actually solidified. It had been slightly lowered recently because of faster setups, but
Oh, wait, these
now,
are-
Nifsky was doing a fast acceleration to start
These
the
are
level
labeled in
and
the
a
bags.
fast
Hold on.
wall clip. You
I actually
couldn't
kind of
go
like
any
that
quicker.
instead of being labeled
Combine that
on
with
the
all
thing
frame
itself.
rules being matched up to -3, and Nifsky had taken the run to its actual human limit, 231.65. So, maybe we have to go past the human limit. This is the TAS of Minus World Ending, 230.10. It represents a theoretical perfect speedrun. A TAS is created by using save states, slowdown, even frame by frame, letting you do the exact moves you want.
I like
for
how
the
this is
whole
packed.
game.
It's like, well,
A task lets you do
well
tricks
done.
that are too hard for humans to perform.
and they made sure all the
in real
edges
time.
would be okay.
The difference
nothing's
between
broken.
Nifsky's record and the TAS is just over a second and a half. Where on earth can you save that
Read the
much time?
instructions.
Well, it's all from 2 levels, -2 and -3. The TAS saves a few frames in -3 from a perfect clip and fast accelerations. And in -2, it
those are
saves
the
an
racks.
entire
Hold on.
4 frame rules. How? Well, by doing this.
Yeah, those are the instructions. Okay. They all just snap together? Oh no, there are screws in here somewhere.
This
where are
is
they?
the -2 full flagpole glitch. It is the hardest trick in the TAS by an enormous margin,
There they are.
discovered by TASer Happy Lee in 2009. The end result is similar to the -1 full flagpole glitch, but setting it up is a different story. It was
Okay,
hard
it's only
enough that
one set
real-time
of
runners didn't
screws.
even bother looking at it for years. But the 4 frame rules of time save eventually became too tantalizing. In 2019, former record holder Merrick did some research to find a setup, and this nightmare chain of inputs is what he found. You have to jump on this specific frame
Oh,
for
these are for
exactly
different
6
configurations.
frames.
Okay.
Let go of B in the air and then repress it on this exact frame after landing. Then, after holding right, you must switch to holding left on the very next frame. A nearly
I don't know.
impossible task on an original
There are two different
D-pad.
ways to put it together,
Then
chat.
you let go of left and switch.
There are 2 different ways of putting this thing together. Oh, come on. Focus. There you go. There's 2 on each side or all 4 next to each other. Can I get an opinion from the peanut gallery? All 4 next to each other or 2 on each side? I personally, Fuck, I really don't know. I really don't know. I can't decide which one to go with. So let's say 2 or 4. So 2 on each side or 4 altogether. Fuck, dude, I don't know. Why'd I have to get one that had 2 different configurations? Now I have a decision to make. Because I sure as shit am not putting it together and taking it apart. I think we'll do all 4 together, actually. I'm not getting anything from you guys. You're not helpful.
Switch back to right 2 frames later, and finally switch back to left once more to enter the wall. You run to the flagpole, and on the correct frame, you press jump for exactly 1 frame. If all this is done correctly, you'll clip into the base of the flagpole and complete the full flagpole glitch. Merrick practiced all this for months. Eventually, he was able to get the clip in real time from a save state, but it was way too inconsistent to be considered for runs. Besides, at that point in 2019, the world record wasn't as optimized. So, runners shelved the trick until they really needed it. Well, a couple years later, that time had come. Nifsky had run out of time saves and had to start looking at the -2 clip. Luckily, in the past year, there had been some developments. Kriller37 found a slightly better setup. It avoided the awkward 6-frame jump and made the clip a little easier, but added in a frame-perfect down right press. And Nifsky himself found a visual cue to help with the setup. It was still an insanely hard trick, but not quite as insane as it was a year ago. Just enough to give him hope that maybe he could hit it in a run eventually, get a shot at -3. After extensive practice, Nifsky decided that it was time. He was gonna go for -2 FFPG in attempts. And he had a game plan for how to do so. Since the trick was so hard but saved so much time, he was gonna take other tricks out of the run, at least for now. Later, once he got a world record with -2 FFPG, he'd slowly add the other tricks back into the run. So, for now, he decided to skip both the 1-1 flagpole glitch and the -3 clip. That let him maximize his tries at the -2 FFPG. Over the following weeks, Nifsky did hundreds of attempts. Many made it to -2, but none got the FFPG. If he could land it once, he'd be home free in -3. But even that was too much to ask. The trick was just too hard. Until one day, in January 2021.
Damn, we're all the way up there? I've not been paying attention to the dates.
Finally! Holy cow! Come on, finish this! Don't choke. This is the only part we don't have to choke, and this is record. Yes!
Don't choke. Oh god, no!
Let's go! 231.4! Yes!
At long last, Nifsky had hit the -2 FFPG. The record was taken to a place once considered completely out of the question. This is what speedrunners do. They make the impossible possible, and the term human limit becomes meaningless. Now, Nifsky had a new task in front of him. Add back in the other tricks, and make the world record literally perfect. And with artificial limitations out of the way, there was nothing stopping him.
God, I love it. Why do you love Overwatch? What the fuck?
Yes! Yes! Let's go! Is that it?
Oh, hi, Dragon's Lair. I didn't realize that was you. I'm like, James, why are you playing Overwatch? Because of the same colors.
Years of playing, thousands of attempts building his skills, and Niftsky has brought the record just 7 frames from perfection. Over that time, Niftsky became by far the best Super Mario Bros. Player in the world. He now holds all main category records, some of them by relatively huge margins. But even he's not sure if the final 7 frames in Minus World Ending will ever be saved. 2 of those frames come from faster methods of acceleration. The other 5 come from the clip itself. You need a precise angle to save a jump in the wall, frame-perfect matching, and a perfect right repress out of the clip. A perfect stage -3 has never been done before, let alone at the end of a perfect paced run. But who knows, maybe one day the limits will change again. All these runners, all their efforts, have all built up to this. The story of how speedrunners completely mastered.
Considering I don't play Overwatch, I don't really have an opinion.
For a never-ending human limit. Thanks for watching. For a behind-the-scenes look at how I made this video and storylines that I couldn't include, join my Patreon page. I only charge when I upload a video. Thanks.
That's my opinion. Never played Overwatch. Don't really plan on it. I'm not a fan of the hero shooters, really. Ugh. Alright, now we got a video courtesy of James. Next.
Over the last year, speedrunner Jadiwi would set 10 records
Understandable.
across 4 different games in the Pokemon
Sorry, I want my
series.
brain
It is
intact
very
so I don't play
uncommon today
Overwatch.
that the Pokemon games have been speedrun and optimized for over a decade, but it turns out that Jadiwi only accomplished this because he was cheating. Perhaps
I think
most
I
of
remember
all,
watching
he almost
this
managed
at some
to steal
point.
$8,500 worth of bounties with his cheated records. So let's start by looking at the run that first raised suspicion and led to Jadiwi's world of fake records to come crashing down. On November 17th, 2023, Jadiwi was streaming attempts of Pokemon Sapphire Any% Glitchless, a game he first completed a run in just 4 days previously with a time of 2 hours and 39 seconds. The run he was currently on had an even better pace, and when it finished, he had achieved a second place time that was 5 seconds off the current world record. If we look at Jadiwi's timeline with the game, we see between his first run and second place time, only 4 days had passed, with another runner commenting that a 2-hour time is insane for a first attempt. Jadiwi replied that he had been practicing every split of the game for several days and was close to a 2:02 in his previous attempts, but that he struggled with the bike sections. Aside from these 2 runs and Discord comments, with only the second place run even having a video, there wasn't any other evidence of Jadiwi's progress with the game. While he did have history with other games in the series, his less than a week grind to second place didn't sit well with one person in particular.
Yeah,
the
honestly,
world
that
record
doesn't-
holder, Wave
doesn't-
Warrior, and he set to
doesn't
work
sit well with me
analyzing
either.
Jadiwi's run. Since Jadiwi admitted to having problems with the bike, this was one of the first things Wave Warrior checked. In particular, he scrutinized a trick that lets you skip spinner trainers called run-to bikes. When you approach a spinner, they behave differently based on how you're moving. If you're walking or on the bike, they will pick a random direction to look every 32 frames. But if you're running, they will always look in the direction you're traveling when you enter their hearing radius, meaning a spinner will always catch you when running. This mechanic can be exploited to always pass a spinner, provided you can execute the requirements fast enough. When a spinner picks a direction to look, they will remain stationary for 31 frames. On the 32nd, the random direction calculation is run again. This gives you a window of 31 frames to pass a spinner with zero risk of being caught. So players run into the hearing radius to force a certain direction, then get on the bike, which takes 16 frames, start moving, which is 8 frames, with each additional tile of movement being 4 frames. This sequence adds up to 28 frames, giving you a 6-frame window to come to a complete stop after running, as you can't mount the bike while moving. This is a very demanding trick, with top runners being able to pull it off more often than not. But when the 7 run-to bikes in Jadiwi's run were analyzed, it turned out that none of them were safe. He was so late on one of them that the NPC turned before he was safely passed, and on a second, he did the movement wrong and continued traveling in its line of sight, meaning had it turned, he would have been caught. This didn't look like the movement execution of a world record level runner, so Wave Warrior dug deeper into the run, this time analyzing the 3 manipulations that take place, and what he found didn't add up either. While this speedrun was beginning to look questionable, one thing you don't want to question is the factuality of your news. And this video's sponsor Ground News can help in that regard. The reason I also risks live Abyssal. Let's get starts from the same.
I'm sorry, I'm not
which enables
sponsored,
3
so we're not doing
manipulations
that.
to take place: Mudkip, Kyogre, and Wingull Manip. Wingull Manip is used to force an encounter.
Please go watch
attack,
Abysssoft's
with the
video.
Wingull having specific
I see this
stats
video
so you
blog
can
too.
one-shot a
Go
Geodude.
watch me building
To
stuff to
perform
the
it,
video.
You need to save and soft reset, then press continue on a certain frame to get RNG on a known value.
I mean,
Then
do,
follow a
but I
specific
mean,
path.
you know what I mean.
You'll
Shut
know
up.
if you're on the right seed by checking the NPC movement, but there is another factor, and that's step count. As every 128 steps, the game has a 50% chance to advance the friendship mechanic, which will change your RNG, and coincidentally, this happens during Wingull Manip, so your step count matters. So what does this have to do with Jadewie's run? When he's leaving Little Root Town, he walks straight up, which triggers Mom to walk over to you. This not only wastes time compared to talking to Mom yourself, but also alters the step count. This put his step count at -7 compared to the established route, meaning he had to make a correction on the fly to save the Manip. Since he's on an odd number, this meant he needed to do one of the correcting steps in the door of the market, as it's the only place where a single step can be adjusted. Jadewi doesn't do this, however, and takes 2 steps
guy's
above
Canadian.
a ledge
Did
instead,
you hear the way he said
resulting in
market?
a step count of -5. According to top runners, this spot isn't where you'd make a correction for Wingull Manip, so this was most likely a movement mistake. But a -5 step count still has a 50% chance of success, and the Manip works in Jadewi's run. Later in the run is Kyogre Manip, very similar to Wingull, as you soft reset, then use a timer to aid in catching a Kyogre with a first turn Great Ball, with this being considered the hardest Manip in the run. Jadewi also hit this Manip on his first try, and we'll come back to why these two Manips are significant, as well as look at the Mudkip Manip in a bit, as there are 3 healing decisions he made that also raise red flags. Across the run, there are only 5 potions that you'll have access to, so health management and knowing when to use one are extremely important. But if we analyze Jadewi's use of potions, we don't see the actions of someone with intimate knowledge of the run. Instead, we see someone that doesn't know what they're doing. In Petalburg Woods after the Wingull Manip, there's a Team Aqua member with a Poochyena that runners call the Aqua Pooch. Going into this fight, his Mudkip is at 19 of 25 HP, and he decides to use a potion to top it up. This decision makes no sense, as you're not in danger of dying in this fight unless you're at 13 HP. And any experienced runner knows this, but it's not even the only instance. On his way to the 5th gym, he heals his Marshtomp from 50 out of 81 before fighting the Delcatty. The Delcatty only has Double Slap as a damage move, which deals 6 per hit. And if you're taking enough damage in this fight and you have to heal, you likely lost significant time to its non-damaging moves as well, which is a reset anyway.
Have you tried to speedrun this game?
To heal before the next fight,
Have you tried to
as a
speedrun
Lulu
any of
can
the
raise
Pokemon
its
games?
attack and do significantly more damage. The most egregious
For context,
heal,
I've never
however, is at the end of
speedrun
the game
anything.
when he tops up his Kyogre from 64. The most damage that Steven Skarmory can do is 45 with its
Skarmory.
aerial ace, meaning the only thing to worry about is a crit. By healing here, he also changes the decisions that Skarmory's AI can take, which opens him up to a potential turnstile. The crit is only a 3% chance, and what makes this worse is that he decided to heal while on world record pace. No top runner would play around
I'm
the
not
crit with
anywhere
world record
near
on the
skilled
line,
enough
and this
at any
decision
game
puts
to
his
speedrun.
ability
Okay.
to be a second place runner in serious doubt, with the theory being that he topped up his HP to make it easier to splice in each instance. While a top runner wouldn't make the movement or healing mistakes that Jadewi did, these are only circumstantial evidence and don't prove concretely that the run was cheated. But there's one more detail that Wave Warrior focused on, and that's Jadewi's attempt count. If we look at the splits from his first run on November 13th, we see he has a total of 256 attempts, and when he achieved the second place time on the 17th, his attempt count went up to 1126, with these being the only runs he ever finished. That's 870 attempts over the course of 4 days, and he was called out about this in the Discord, with his response being that he played 14 hours a day. But let's analyze
Jesus
this.
Christ,
With a
you
session
know
time
like
of
that
14
shit, if
hours
that's
across
true.
4 days, we get a total of 56 hours. Since there aren't
Sounds
any
like me
VODs
when
of his
Kiva got me
attempts,
back
we
into
can't know
Fortnite.
for sure, but let's take his word and assume this is correct. The earliest reset point in the run is
Even if I
Mudkip
did,
Manip, as it
it'd be
occurs directly at the
glitchless.
beginning. To execute it, you need to perform a soft reset, then use a timer to confirm the Mudkip on a certain frame to obtain the naughty nature with specific stats. You won't know if the Manip worked until the battle with the Poochyena. If its gender is male,
Oh
you
my
were a
God,
frame
please say the
early
names
and
right.
have the
You're
wrong
pissing me
Mudkip.
off.
But if you're a frame late, the genders of both Pokemon and Mudkip's HP will be identical to the correct frame. The frame early reset is about 3 minutes and 20 seconds, with the frame late reset being closer to 5 minutes, as you need to play longer to verify the Mudkip. But let's be generous and assume that Jadiwi reset at the 3-minute 20 mark each time. 870 attempts resetting at the earliest possible Mudkip manip gives a total minute count of 2,900, or just over 48 hours. This leaves 8 hours of time to perform any run that made it beyond Mudkip manip, which equates to 4 full attempts that didn't die, with one of those resulting in a second place run. You can adjust the calculation in Jadiwi's favor a bit by accounting for attempts that reset before Mudkip manip due to error. Wave Warrior offered 100 such attempts in his original calculation and attributed no reset penalty to them as well. Despite this, the time Jadiwi had for anything but Mudkip manip only goes from just under 8 hours to a little over 13 hours, meaning he spent 43 madness-inducing hours grinding Mudkip manips and only saw beyond the first 3 minutes of the game for a total of 13 hours, or 6.5 full runs of the game.
See, that'd
at
be
record pace.
mind-numbing
This is
to
not
me.
a lot of
Fuck
time,
that.
especially when you consider that the game is full of high-variance fights that can end a run. But Jadiwi is questioned about his attempt count and has this to say: 50% of my attempts did not pass Roxanne, and 45 of the remaining 50% did not pass Tate and Lisa. Roxanne is the first gym leader, with the fight taking place just over 15 minutes into the run.
Isn't
Given
it
that he has a
Liza,
huge
not
attempt
Lisa?
count, this is a clever thing to say, but as we saw with the math, it doesn't make any sense. Sapphire is a hard game to get a run going in, given the various run killers, with top runners spending entire streams not getting anything beyond the mid-game. And given that Jadiwi had a budget of 13 hours, the only conclusion is that at best, his attempt count is fake, and at worst, the entire run is suspect. In a message to another runner, Jadiwi claims that he doesn't save any of his splits, and that he sets the attempt count by hand each time he starts a grind. It is possible he grinded 14 hours a day and put the attempt count in wrong, but there's no way of verifying if this claim is true or false. If we go back to Mudkip manip, we also see another glaring issue. Given that he would have spent 43 hours on this trick alone, it reveals another fact. Jadiwi is extremely inconsistent at performing manipulations. If Jadiwi is this bad at Mudkip manip, then it's safe to say he's likely not great with Wingle manip either. And assuming he talked to Mom and used the -5 step count in every attempt, only 3 of 6 frames on this step count produce a Wingle. This means he would have been failing the
Ooh,
manip
God,
50%
excuse me,
of
that
the
came out
time,
of
even if
nowhere.
he executed it properly. Kyogre manip is likely harder.
If there's 2 things to learn from a video like this, 1, it's cheaters never prosper, and 2, do not fuck with speedrunners. The community has the investigative power of Sherlock Holmes, Batman, and Ace Ventura. I mean, that's true. Same with like the lost media community as well.
To perform than the other 2 as well.
Them fuckers
especially
find
with
shit
the added
everywhere.
pressure of being on good pace, with each failed attempt costing 45 seconds. But Jadiwi hits this first try, despite spending over 40 hours resetting on Mudkip manip. He also played on the DS console, which isn't hardware top runners prefer to play on, as it's slightly slower than the Game Boy player for GameCube, resulting in final times that are about 10 seconds slower due to the frame rate difference, meaning had he played this on the optimal hardware, it would have been world record by 5 seconds. None of this sat well with Wave Warrior, but since he couldn't find a splice or other definitive method of cheating, he kept this to himself. Fortunately, he only had to wait a month before more people became suspicious, as Jadiwi laid claim to the most prestigious record in all of Pokemon. The current red any % glitchless record was set on January 26th.
Yeah, they saw that, they're like,
2023, and
hell
was
no,
the result
wait a
of
minute.
almost a decade of grinding by Pokeguy. Not only was Pokeguy's time monumental, but it beat the previous record by over a minute and came just 3 seconds away from what many believe to be the game's final minute barrier. His time was so good that a community member offered a $5,000 bounty for anyone that could beat it before February 1st, 2024, with an additional bounty of $1,000 being offered for anyone that set a 143. On Boxing Day 2023, Jadiwi would stream a run of any % glitchless that beat the record by 11 seconds, but instead of being celebrated, it caused a wave of suspicion across the community. And if we look at his history with the category, we can start to see why. Looking at his grind between June 7th and 10th, he improved his PB by a minute each day. This is unusual, as it normally takes runners months to drop their time by a minute this close to the record, with PBs usually resulting in a gain of 10 to 20 seconds. For Jadiwi, the opposite was true. A gain of a few seconds was rare, with leaps of over a minute being a regular occurrence. And looking at his attempt count during June,
Yeah, that
we see his
sucks as fuck.
147 came on his 119th run. Another anomaly, as most
There it
top
is, I
runners
found it.
near
It's
this
right here.
time have an attempt count in the thousands. This rapid progression did raise some questions, but nobody suspected that he could be cheating. And when he resumed this category in September, it's worth noting that the only run he provided with video proof was the 147.52. He'd set a 4th place time that came 5 days after a record in blue no save corruption. And if we look at his attempt count, we see that it's now at 1230, with his last PB having a count of 851, meaning he did 371 attempts in the span of 5 days. This brings us to the record, and as soon as the final split was hit, Wave Warrior proof called Jadiwi in chat by asking him to hard reset the emulator to prove the run was done live and not pre-recorded. But instead, Jadiwi ended stream and went into the Pokemon Discord. He first posted a screenshot of his run with the caption, "Getting lucky is not a crime." Then 10 minutes later, addressed the proof call. "I just saw my chat on the replay. I didn't have it during the run. I just saw the hard reset requests. Now I'm sus." Sus indeed, as setting a record this prestigious after a week-long grind with thousands of dollars of bounties on the line, then dodging the proof call isn't exactly behavior the community expects. And with more than one person now doubting his accomplishments, an investigation was launched by the moderation team. Given that he didn't stream many of his attempts, the mods instead focused on 3 different pieces of evidence: his sum of best segments, his stream layout, and messages he had with the person issuing the bounties. If we look at his sum of best, we see that in his record, it's at 140.54. But in the 10 runs he streamed leading up to this, his sum of best was a 141.24. Between his 10th stream and the one where he got the record, there was a gap of 50 minutes. And top runners are in agreement that setting 30 seconds of gold splits in an offline attempt in this amount of time isn't possible. So what happened? When Jadiwi did stream, it wasn't always on Twitch, and looking at archives of deleted streams he did on YouTube, we see that a few days prior to December 21st, his sum of best steadily improved before arriving at a 140.54, the same number that was seen in his record. When questioned about this, he offered 2 explanations. Between the 21st and 22nd, he moved locations to his parents' house, and due to using a different computer, his splits file was out of date. The move itself isn't disputed, and on the surface, this appears to be a good explanation as to why his splits file rolled back for his attempts on Christmas and Boxing Day. But why did his sum of best change in the world record run? Jadiwi's answer to this is that in the 50 minutes between his 10th and 11th run, he went back through his VODs and added his correct gold splits so that his sum of bests would be correct. This claim seems dubious at best, since he could have done this before grinding any attempts at his new location. But if we analyze his stream layout, we can cast even more doubt on this claim. This is his stream layout for the 10 streams he did prior to the record, and this is the layout of his world record stream, which looks almost identical, except when you lay it over his previous 10 streams, you see that his live split shifted a couple of pixels. People change their stream layout all the time, but making a minor adjustment like that between attempts is a bit odd. And if you compare the layout from his world record to a layout from his old location, you can see that they're an exact match. The only way this could have happened was if while he was editing his sum of bests between his 10th and 11th runs, he adjusted the live split layout to pixel perfectly match his layout from before the move. Given that he dodged a proof call and the sum of best and layout from his record match a stream before he moved, the mods were of the opinion that he pre-recorded this run and passed it off as real during his Twitch live stream. They didn't have a smoking gun, however, as no splice or use of TAS had been found. But this was just the tip of the iceberg, and they shifted their focus to other records he had set.
G's on the end. Okay.
If we go back to the end of November, we see that Jadiwi was involved in 3 different races for Diamond and Pearl any percent Manipulous, where he set a 105.59 in the first race and a 59.46 in the second. The 105 is a very good time for a race, but the 59.46 is very significant, as not only is it a world record, but it's also the first sub 1 hour time in the category's history. This was one of the first runs the team looked at after the investigation was launched, and there are a number of things wrong with it, so let's begin with an overview. The no manipulation category requires you to complete the first 2 gyms along with 2 Team Galactic encounters before an out of bounds glitch can be used to get you to the Hall of Fame cutscene. The run relies heavily on your starting Pokemon having good stats, with Chimchar being selected. But that's not all it needs. The powerhouse move of the run is Hidden Power, and in Gen 4, its type and power are determined by the user's IVs, which are just the values that determine a Pokemon's stats. Since you can't manipulate, this makes getting a good Chimchar a reset-intensive endeavor, with a few different combinations of stats and hidden powers being viable, but the best type to get by far is Grass. Since you can't check your hidden power to see what stats it has, you need to test it in battle, and in Jadiwi's world record, we see that against the rival Starly, it wasn't very effective, but against the Piplup, it was super effective. This indicates that it's Grass type, and given the high damage output, the base power is also high as well. At this point, he has a lead on the other racers, but even with a Grass-type hidden power, the recommended route is to get some extra experience before taking on the gym, but Jadiwi doesn't do this and heads straight for Roark. Leaving the extra XP on the table is a risk, and doesn't make much sense given that this was a race, but you could always say that Jadiwi stopped caring about the race and wanted to go for record given his great start. So this isn't the most convincing evidence. When he finishes the run, he's beaten the previous world record by over a minute and a half. But given the investigation, it no longer passed the sniff test, so the mods investigated. This time, it would be Minnow that analyzed the run, and not finding anything on its face that was wrong, he broke out some tools that would help him identify the RNG seed of the run itself. Solving for the initial RNG seed of a Diamond or Pearl run isn't very difficult, as the seed is composed of 3 different variables. The first 2 digits are calculated by the calendar date and minute plus second value of the DS clock, with the 3rd and 4th digits being calculated by the hour value. The final 4 are the number of frames since the game booted up, plus the last 2 digits of the year. The seed is generated the frame you clear the TV cutscene, with the frame since boot being counted from the first white frame.
What is
after
this?
doing
It's
a soft reset. But calculating Jadiwi's
the biggest
seed
cheater in
is
Pokemon
difficult
history
for
was
2
finally
reasons.
caught
First,
a speedrunning
Minnow
video while I am redoing and building stuff in my office. I'll show you guys what I'm working on over here. Oh, is that you, Dozy? You spelled your name different.
know what year Jadiwi's DS clock was set to, but since it can only be a finite number, this just means that his calculation will involve a range of seeds rather than a single. And second, Jadiwi hid his DS clock from the video, choosing to have the calculator active instead. This is a strange decision, as most runners won't ever change this setting. But fortunately, the clock is the default option when you receive the Poketch, so there was an instance where the DS clock was active on Jadiwi's screen. This let Minnow get a range of seeds that only varied by the year variable, so he put them into a tool called Pokefinder, which lets you enter RNG seeds, and in turn, it spits out the frames that a certain Pokemon will appear on. This was only part of the equation, however, as he also needed the IVs of the Chimchar, which can be calculated by looking at its stat increases at level up. But in this case, Jadiwi was using a tool that displayed the stats on screen, so Minnow plugged them into Pokefinder along with the range of RNG seeds he calculated. And what do you think happened when he hit the find button? The Chimchar that Jadiwi used did not appear in any of the RNG seeds, a clear indicator that the run had been spliced. This wasn't the only RNG analysis that Minnow performed, however, as the trainer ID that appears when you enter the Hall of Fame is also tied to the seed. When he reverse engineered the seed from the trainer ID, the specific ID appeared in a handful of seeds, but only one of these can occur when the DS clock is at hour 1, which we know was Jadiwi's clock time if we look at when he received the Poketch and subtract his run time. This seed has a slightly higher delay than was expected of Jadiwi's run, given that Minnow frame counted what his delay should be. And if we look at the Chimchar that the trainer ID seed can generate, the Hidden Power Grass with a hasty nature isn't one of them. That makes 2 pieces of conclusive evidence that the run was cheated, but Minnow took it a step further and injected the trainer ID seed into a run. The point of this was so he could compare NPC movement between the seed observed at the start and the seed generated from his trainer ID, as NPCs will always move the same on a given RNG seed. In Jadiwi's run, we see that the NPC outside of Mom's house starts facing left, then looks up, but on the trainer ID seed, the NPC starts looking right, then switches to left, then looks up. This proves that his trainer ID doesn't match the seed in the beginning, and that even if this was the correct trainer ID, the Chimchar doesn't exist on this seed or the seed observed at the start. This was the smoking gun the mods were looking for, and before we move on to his other runs, let's look at some of his behavior around this one. On November 30th, after he set the 105, he went into Sin's chat and said he should try for a sub-hour time. As we know now, he achieved the feat the very next day with his fake run, so he was foreshadowing his own accomplishment in another runner's chat, then returned to gloat after he successfully passed off the fake run. I spoke to some of the runners involved in the race as part of my own investigation and asked them who organized the
People
three
were saying my
races,
name
and
wrong.
in each case, it was Jadiwi who organized them, showing that not only did he fake a run, but he calculated
Pokemon
the
is a
when and where
complicated
of
mechanics
how
of
he
that
would show it
tournament.
off.
Yeah.
One of them even says that
I meant the
looking
game
back, his
itself,
tone of
like
voice
the
during run doesn't sound authentic, which lines up completely given that we know the run was pre-recorded, and to help hide this fact, he made tapping sounds on his DS during the race to make it seem like he wasn't playing a recording. Jadiwi had a previous record in this category as well, and he even points out that the time difference between them was almost identical, but I guess that's not hard to accomplish when you're faking runs and setting up races to pass them off as legit. But this Pearl
I love
run
how every
was
time he
just
says
the
races,
beginning.
I think he
If
says
we look at
racist.
Jadiwi's timeline since he started speedrunning, we see that he began with Pearl, then moved on to various categories in Gen 1, with his first record coming in Red Any Percent, a run of pure execution that uses save corruption to credits warp. He had posted some times with video proof prior to this record, so it didn't raise any suspicion. A lot of his runs between August and early October did not have video proof, but that would change after he finished running gold, as he started setting records very quickly. Most of them were in short categories he was considered good at, so they didn't raise many eyebrows. But no save corruption is a different story. At the time when it was performed, it was generally believed to be a legitimate but insanely lucky run. However, once the investigation started, some serious doubt was cast on its legitimacy. The run is a mix of RNG and execution, as you need to play to Viridian Forest before you can activate the credits warp.
Dozy, I did
which
see your
requires
text, by the way.
rival
I know
fight
you made it
and
to
going
work. I just
through the
haven't had a
tall
chance to get to
grass
my
on
phone
Route
yet.
1 3 times. For the rival fight, the fastest thing that can happen is for the Squirtle to use Tackle 5 times to KO your Charmander, with it having about a 50% chance to select Tackle over Tail Whip. This equates to about a 3% chance of getting the optimal RNG, with some edge cases bumping the odds up a bit, but they're still low. When it comes to the tall grass, you need to pass through 41 tiles of it, with each tile having a tile value of 25. To decide if you get an encounter, the game rolls a number between 0 and 255, with an encounter being generated if the number rolled is less than the tile number. This gives odds of about 2% for 0 encounters, with combined odds of about 5% to get that and a good Squirtle fight, and this RNG is required for any potential world records. After that, you need to manipulate a Spearow catch, as it's a better Pokemon than Charmander for clearing the trainers in the forest. Once you have Spearow, you're now ready for the most difficult manipulation in all of Pokemon speedrunning. It involves manipulating 0 encounters in the forest so you can trigger a Pikachu fight as you enter a trainer's line of sight. This gets the game in a state where your actions now edit the code itself, which is known as Arbitrary Code Execution, or ACE. The manipulation doesn't end at the Pikachu, however. A runner named Grogear developed it so that you carry it through 2 more bug catcher fights, with the requirements being frame-perfect inputs and short windows to clear text boxes, which leaves a lot of spots for mistakes across the 2-minute manipulation. In Jadiwi's run, not only did he get a 5-turn death with the rival, but he also had 0 encounters before the Spearow manip. And when it came time to execute Grogear's new manip, not only did he perform it, but he also got 2 unmanipulated crits on the final 2 bug catcher fights. When Grogear first developed the extended manipulation, it took him weeks to get a below average consistency with it. But if we look at Jadiwi's proficiency with a comparable manip, we don't see much reason to be confident in his abilities. The triple extended manip in Red Glitchless requires you to manipulate a Nidoran encounter and catch, continue it into a Pidgey encounter and catch, then extend it into a 0 encounter forest until you fight the bug catcher, where you force one final event by having its Weedle use String Shot. It's agreed by top runners that while this manip is hard, Grogear's in the no save corruption category is harder. And when it came to Jadiwi's execution at the triple extended, we see that he often dropped it at the Pidgey catch, as happened in his 143. This doesn't mean he can't execute the harder manip, but it does cast doubt on his ability to be able to hit it while under the pressure of finally getting the 5-turn death and 0 encounter start. A further problem is that by Jadiwi's own admission, he only had 5 or 6 runs that were 5 turns 0 encounters, but that he failed the extended manip in all of them, meaning the only run he had beyond the manip was this one. After the manip, there are still some actions you need to take, and Jadiwi proceeded to get the best RNG possible with 2 unmanipulated crits, the faster of 2 possible fights, a fast bug catcher dialogue, and a non-crash ace warp. with the combined odds of these events being 1 in 800. You may have noticed a pattern developing where Jadiwi always finishes a run if he gets a good start, with there only being a handful of examples where he posted screenshots of dead runs. And this wasn't lost on the mods as they carried out the investigation. While they couldn't find a splice, they did acknowledge that despite every world record in Pokemon requiring exceptional luck, Jadiwi rarely spent more than a week grinding any category before achieving a record. And in this run, the single attempt he managed to get through the manipulation received the best luck possible, with their verdict being that it was likely achieved through illegitimate means. There's also the Red Glitchless Classic record he set on November 21st, just 4 days after his second place time in Sapphire. When he last ran the category, his attempt count was 164, and the earliest he could have started this grind was midday on the 17th. When he got the record, his attempt count was 622, meaning across 3.5 days, he did 458 attempts. If we run a calculation and assume he played 14 hours a day as he claimed in Sapphire, we see that he was averaging 7 minutes per attempt, which doesn't make a lot of sense as most runs in this category are getting to Brock, which is at the 11-minute mark. This run also didn't have any identifiable splices in it, but given all of the other evidence, this run's legitimacy was also doubted by the mods. And not wanting to alarm Jadiwi in case he tried to hide evidence, they didn't inform him of this investigation when it started. Along with analyzing his
Well,
runs,
of course not.
they
I would
also
hope
gathered
not.
statements he made in Discord and various Twitch chats, and one that consistently appeared was Jadiwi claiming he didn't lose runs in the late game because he was better at execution and handling pressure. He says that if you gave his RNG to other runners, they wouldn't be able to execute, then complains about people calling him lucky when he sets a record, but congratulate others when they do. But getting called lucky shouldn't have surprised him, given that he finished his best pace ever every single time he got it. After his 145 in Glitchless, he acknowledges that other players who have spent more time grinding than him and have worse times are better runners than he is. It's almost as if he's telling on himself, and then goes on to say that if he wins the $1,000 bounty, he would give half to 2 different runners. He's asked at one point why he doesn't upload any of his runs to a leaderboard, with Jadiwi replying that he doesn't have a Game Boy player and can't run on emulator because his computer sucks. Which brings up another point. When Jadiwi wasn't streaming attempts, he never locally recorded any of his runs. Pokemon Red is not a CPU-intensive game to stream, let alone
Not
record.
at all.
In fact, it can be ran on a TI-84 calculator that uses a processor from 1974, and one member of the community even plays and records attempts on a Lenovo T420, a PC pad that's 13 years old. The first Game Boy emulator
Jesus
released
Christ.
in 96, and one of the first screen recording softwares, Fraps, released in 99. Fraps doesn't require much processing power by today's standards, and its 3.0 version has min specs of a Pentium 4 processor, which is hardware available in the year 2000. Given this, the fact that he didn't record runs and made excuses for why he couldn't makes zero sense, as a PC that's older than he is can perform the required operations without overheating or maxing out on memory. Given the hard evidence in Pearl, the mountain of evidence from Sapphire and other games, and all of these statements, the mods were confident in their investigation and were ready to move forward with their decision. But before they could, Jadiwi posted that he was retiring from speedrunning. He cites an increasing school schedule as the main reason, as he won't have time to do 14-hour-a-day grinds anymore, and says that with the free time he does have, he will be focusing on speed cubing, which is solving Rubik's Cubes incredibly fast. On top of this,
Nerd.
he's out of shorter categories to run, as he doesn't have the mental strength to do longer
Hey.
runs and needs
I gotta
breaks
go. Love
every
you.
2
I love you,
hours,
baby.
which
Have
seems
fun at
odd,
work. Well,
given
you
that
won't
he
have
would
fun at
spend
work, but
14 hours a day grinding.
I'll text you here
according to his
soon.
own statements. He then goes into a
The
story about how he was
distribution of the
bullied
year
as a child due to a
2000.
medical condition. I'm not going to dispute
Welcome to
this
the
or go into
world
it beyond
tomorrow.
highlighting that he cites these experiences as to why he didn't stream much during his grinds. He ends with a final shot at another runner, then rides off into the sunset, or so everyone thought, because the next day, the mods informed him that as a result of their investigation, he had been banned from the Discord and leaderboards. Not informing him about the investigation was a smart move, because immediately after this, he began deleting Discord messages and videos. But luckily, the mods had already backed up everything. He replies to this message the next morning, stating he would wait for the report to be released before commenting. But just 2 hours later, he released another paste bin. It opens with, "GG, quite impressed with the effort to find out how I cheated," and goes into why he cheated his first run, which was the blue no save corruption, claiming he did perform 3,000 attempts, but became frustrated he couldn't get the record. He admits to using save states to splice the run together, then says that he didn't cheat for bounties and that he felt terrible about cheating and didn't like lying to people. But when he saw the run wasn't scrutinized, he decided to cheat more as he wanted to make the most of his remaining time speedrunning. He admits to Sapphire, Red Classic, and Red Glitchless being cheated, and even claims to have had a save state ready in case he was proof called for the 143, then offers a single apology and claims again that he didn't care about the bounties, and had he received them, he would have given half to the runners he promised to distribute the $1,000 bounty to, and that the other $7,500 would have been given to his parents. This statement is absolutely ludicrous and should be reason enough to doubt anything he said, as it's contradicted in the very pastebin itself. If he didn't cheat for the bounties, then why cheat the runs that award you the bounties in the first place? And more importantly, he didn't say that he would have refused the money, but instead claims he would have taken it and given it to other runners and his parents. If he didn't care about the bounties, then why message one of the bounty posters asking if you can stream the runs on Discord instead of on Twitch? This is in direct conflict with his pastebin, since why would you ask if you can claim a bounty if you didn't care about them? Never mind asking to stream your runs in a less public method. Interestingly enough, he never admitted to cheating the Pearl run, despite that one having direct hard evidence, nor did he admit to the red or yellow any % runs being cheated, likely because at the time of the mods informing him of the ban, they hadn't released the report, so Jadiwi didn't actually know what they had caught and what they hadn't. After his pastebin, he did admit to using save states to splice the Pearl run together, and you might be wondering how no splices were able to be detected, and the answer is that Jadiwi is very familiar with video editing software. He had other YouTube channels where he created music, Photoshop tutorials, and edited challenge videos around Pokemon. The challenge video channel has since been scrubbed, but using the Wayback Machine, you can see that it did have content at one point. So the answer to how he was able to splice undetected is that he was very skilled at using equipment that can create spliced runs. And with the Pearl run in particular, he claims he did it on a flash cart, which has faster load times than the DS. If you look at the loads in the video, however, they are about the same as you'd expect on a DS, meaning he accounted for this discrepancy when splicing the run. This also defeats his earlier claim of not being able to locally record because of his PC being potato quality, as any computer that can run editing software certainly has the capacity to run an emulator with recording software. All of this goes to show the lengths he went through not to get caught, so the mods deserve congratulations in catching this before he was able to claim bounties, as while getting lucky may not be a crime, succeeding in stealing almost $10,000 with fake videos almost certainly is. And who knows, maybe I'll be making a video on a speed tubing cheater later this year. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to support me on Patreon or become a member here on YouTube.
Damn, that video just ended. I wasn't ready. Oh, my back. Leaning over too much. Whoop, that was the wrong button. Here, hold on. So, Potato War, anyone? Huh? Oh no, the Browning released it. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Skyblock Potato War. It's only 18 minutes. I need some length in the videos right now. I see one 18-minute long video. And honestly, I don't want to support anything Minecraft right now. Here, I got one. We're gonna watch Pyrocynical.
I just crap.
We're gonna watch Pyrocynical. I'm just about done with this thing real quick. Hang on.
Funny thing is, I don't even like video games.
People talk a lot
No, like
about
how that said
using games
Overwatch on
as
it.
an escape.
Le fiche.
But what we're not talking about enough is how fun it is to lean on how horrible working a real job is.
Are we developing such a poop factory? No, we are not. Because we already have it.
And even though streamers will tell you time and time again that yes, it is easier than working a 9 to 5.
I just crapped on myself.
Ever since Five Nights at Freddy's and
I
other
bet
games
you
like
did,
it,
buddy.
we've been focusing on how truly awful it feels to be backed into doing something you hate just to barely make ends meet. Games like Night of the Consumers, Zoocosis, which that's
Okay,
definitely
to be
a video
fair,
game,
Pyro,
definitely a
you
video
literally
game.
played it whenever it
Phasmophobia,
came
Lethal
out.
Company, all of
It
these are
was a
expanding
little
on
bit
both
better
unsettling
whenever I
you
played
and
it.
frustrating you, especially when you have a boss who
A little,
hardly explains
not
the
very
mechanics
much.
of the game.
Boom, guitar rack.
That's where
Let me get this in place
one
over
of the
here,
pipes comes in.
and then I will show you some stuff. Gamers caught cheating. Okay, we can watch that one
Cranks
next.
up the hysteria of being the new guy at work up to 11. Now there's more cryptids at work than just your mean boss and that guy who doesn't ever shower. I'm pretty sure anyone that's worked in retail or hospitality has had that person. But first, I've got to show you how well I did on my first day at my brand new job. I also want to say, if you want to meet me in person, I will be at the MegaCon live event in Dublin from the 18th
Alright, let's see
to the
how it
19th
fits.
of January. And then MegaCon
Whenever
live
we
in
put
London
the-
on the 25th
the
and
guitars
26th
on there.
of January. I'll be doing a meet and greet both events. We'll be selling merch as well. Hopefully, I will see you there. So, you know the rules, boys. Lights off for horror games. What's happening here is I'm stuck crawling through pipes. You can't turn around and can only move with on-screen buttons and interact with stuff in front of you like a point-and-click adventure game.
Oi mate, why can't you turn around?
Big boot.
I know making the comparison
Big
between
boot.
Five Nights at Freddy's and horror games is the same as comparing Dark
Hold on. Okay.
Souls to, well, anything. But there's even a quirky boss that communicates to you the game's
Motherfuck. Got the dog's bowl right here. Oh, Kobu behind everything. We're stuck. We're stuck. We're stuck. We're stuck. We're stuck on the cord. Let go. Chair, let go. Chair, let go. Okay, guitar rack. Here we go. First test. Ready? Yeah, it goes like this. Yeah, put it like that. I might pull it back from the wall just a little bit. Boom! Guitar on the rack. Do it the other way. Gotta lean a little bit. There we go. There we go. Next guitar, which this one's probably gonna get replaced soon, sooner than later. Probably gonna get something new for it. God, look how much longer the scale length is on that bitch. It's not even the scale length, it's the fucking headstock. It's just fucking massive on the thing. Look at that. Ain't that cool? I think that's cool. And again, I'm the music guy. So I still gotta take those boards down and put them up over on top of this thing. But we could finally start, like, reorganizing everything. I like that. That's solid. So the only things that I need now, I want to replace that 6-string guitar with a better one. Hold on, sorry, give me 1 second, guys. I might have to step away for just a minute. Send this to Dozy since she's not currently watching. Switch back these cameras. Sorry, my neighbor's buying one of the old PlayStation 2s we have, and I'm trying, and he just hit me up. So I was trying to figure out whether we're doing that now or later. I'm like, I can walk away from stream for a few minutes and do that, and we can hang out later if that's what we want to do. My neighbor's cool. I like hanging out with my neighbor. All right, cool. He's at the bar. I said hit me up later then. All right, here we go. Let's get back to this real quick.
Tutorial.
Okay, open up the probe and you'll see a button that's labeled ping. Just press that. Probe's gonna make a
I thought I'd see a button labeled pain. Oh, fun.
Honestly, this is pretty hard to grasp if you're not in the driver's seat, so we're going to simplify it a bit. The map is always the same. Your ping locations aren't. Your sense of direction is how you're going to get from place to place. You're not a cursor on this map, and the sections feel wide, so getting your bearings can be really tough. If anything, it really reminds you how dumbed down most games are, having an exact point where you are on the map, or a constant objective marker floating above your head pointing where to go.
Don't you feel silly?
If this game had
I
that,
always feel
you'd
silly.
probably be able to beat it in about 10 minutes. In Five Nights at Freddy's, you were usually sat in a chair, or sat in a chair, or sat in a chair, or looking in a closet.
Hey, people.
But here, you're actively moving around trying to travel to certain locations inside the pipes to ping them. You count the amount of
record
echo
players
pings
plugged
and
in.
then enter that number to complete the section and move on to the next. Sounds simple enough, but it can be really difficult because the amount of pings.
I gotta
come
grab
out
my records
incredibly
out of here.
disjointed,
We have a
and
whole
also
bunch
you're
now.
under the pressure of everything else that's in the pipes. But regardless, the first pipe is pretty small. That's what she said. And there's only two pings other than
tiny
one in the
pipe.
spawn to contend with. With enough perseverance, you'll be done with this one quickly.
Yeah, I'll go through them all real quick.
But that was only the tutorial. I mean, if you didn't beat that, you shouldn't even really be playing the game anyway.
Fuck.
Also, depending on how long this stream goes, we might do another one tomorrow or Sunday or Monday to do some more work. Legos and all that. I don't know if we'll get to Legos tonight. We'll see. All right, let's go through my record collection real fast. How about that? So these are my Gorillaz records I have so far. The Now Now and then Cracker Island. This Cracker Island one is limited edition. They only made 8,000 of these. It's a zoetropic. So whenever it spins, it's got a cool little pattern that you can actually see on the record as it spins. Really fucking neat. And these are supposed to fit on here. Nope, they don't fit on there, so they're going to go down here. From the picture I saw whenever I was looking it up, they had records in this shelf. It doesn't look like I can move it down any lower. Meh, that's okay. It'll go right here. And then I'll show it off once it's all put together. I also have some 21 Pilots records. We have their most recent one, Clancy. One of their earlier ones, Blurry Face. Something a little bit more recent. What is this one called? Scaled and Icy. Some good shit there. Put you down there. My Veil of Maya records. I have 2 of these. I need to get a third one. I have so this is what so Veil of Maya has been around for a long time, and then these are some of the records with their new vocalist. This is their first album with the new guy. This is their third album with the new guy. I'm missing the middle one because it's been really hard to find. Anytime that I have the extra money for it, it's not available anywhere that I can find, and that really fucking blows. These are my Idola records. Idola is like swancore math rock. Some really cool stuff. This is an earlier album. This is the one that I got in. This is the one that this is the album they put out whenever I discovered them right here. So we have oh, what the fuck? Idola's records. Where the fuck is the name on here? It's on here somewhere. This one's called The Architect. And this one is Eviscerate. Idola. Some really cool stuff. Then we have some single stuff. Cane Hill, their new album right here. Piece of Me I Never Let You Find. This is a really, really good album. Everybody go listen to Cane Hill. They like all my tweets whenever I talk about them, and I know the guys. They're cool. This is Invent Animate's most recent, second most recent album, because this is the album called Heavener, and then they released after I bought this, they released Heavener Complete Edition. So it's got a couple more songs. It's like the extended edition, the deluxe version of the record. And I'm like, well, fuck, now I have this one, and I need to get the new one. The Home Team. This is one of me and Dozie's favorite bands right here. We went to go see these guys live, and that's where we got the record. Beartooth, the vocalist for this band, is an absolute fucking legend. If anybody knows the band Attack Attack, Caleb Shomo was one of the old vocalist and keyboard guy for Attack Attack, and then he went and started Beartooth after he left there. That's their most recent album. I need to go back and get their other ones. Oh, a classic. Welcome to the Black Parade. My Chemical Romance. Of course, I have this one as an old school emo kid. We're running out of lean here. Hang on. We're running out of ability to these to lean. I'm about to get like a book stop. Oh, Evanescence, Fallen, classic album. Really fucking good. If you don't know what that is, then you're crazy. Linkin Park's Paper Cuts album. It's got a bunch of their singles, like some of their best singles from all their albums. We got Crawling, Faint, Numb, / Encore, so it's the remix. Paper Cut, Breaking the Habit, In the End, Bleed It Out, Somewhere I Belong, Waiting for the End, Castle of Glass, One More Light, Burn It Down, What I've Done, Queerty, One Step Closer, New Divide, Leave Out All the Rest, Lost, Numb, and Friendly Fire. Some fucking fire shit. It is a 2 LP record, so there's 2 records in here. Lots of listening. Oh, and then we get down to the nitty gritty. So, Sleep Token's one of my favorite bands as well. And they have released 3 records, and now I have all 3 of them thanks to Dozy. We have Sundowning right here. Sundowning is their first album from 2019. Their next album from 2023 called This Place Will Become Your Tomb. And if we have Halo fans in chat, yes, this album is a Halo reference. And I'm trying to find evidence that the whole album is about Halo. I'm not 100% sure, but if you guys go listen to the song Alkaline and read the lyrics, I think that is a good comparison, as well as the song High Water. Fall For Me is another example that I think that sounds like Fall For Me. This one is my most recent one that I'm thinking about. Hang on a second. Let's see. So let's read the lyrics. In a city of ice, there are burning cathedrals, turning the skies into glass, and through echoing futures and buckling sutures that hold shut the wounds of the past. That sounds a lot like the Covenant glassing a planet. Da, 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 da. This part right here, whenever it makes me think of this part, the times where Chief is separated from Cortana. My insecurities surround me like lions in the den, and I feel like I'm slowly losing touch with what I am again. And slowly I remember why I cannot pretend that I never think of you in all this screaming silence. Oh God, I wish you were here. It also, if you listen to, it's like an acapella version. It's like an acapella song. So it's not exactly like, there's no instruments. But if you listen to it, it kind of sounds like the music when Cortana dies in Halo 4. And then their most recent album, as we put down, This Place Will Become Your Tomb. We have Take Me Back to Eden, their most recent album and their most experimental album. Some of the longest songs you've ever heard. Take Me Back to Eden itself is an 8-minute song. The Summoning is 6 minutes. A lot of these songs are about 4 to 5 minutes long. The only short ones are Do You Wish That You Love Me? Rain's kind of short. Aqua Regia's kind of short too, but most of these songs are really long and a lot of put into them. A lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of arrangement, a lot of stuff packed into some really nice packages in this album. But those are my vinyls that I have so far. So that's really cool. I love music. I went to school for music. Obviously I enjoy making music because I have the guitars rack over here. I actually have a song that I'm working on myself, so hopefully I don't want to say anything definitive because this is a rough draft of my first song that I've written in years. I have a bunch of lyrics from stuff I've written in the past, and I'd love to make music again, but I don't want to make promises. I'm sitting here like writing stuff down as I get ideas and all that. So eventually you'll probably hear some music from me, but nothing definitive, no definitive dates or anything yet. Anyway, back to doing a little bit more work on this room and trying to make it look pretty again, because stuff is kind of everywhere. Did I have anything else I wanted to put in that rack? Here, let me press play real quick so we have some noise. So the stream doesn't think we're just sitting here dead.
Right away, you'll get a ring from your nameless, faceless boss telling you that you're not alone down here. The first cryptid you'll meet is Rodland. Hello. He'll hide around corners or at the far end of pipes waiting for you to crawl around. Or hunting you down when you've got your map open for too long.
I will send you back to the depths of Hades.
The only way to get rid of Rodland temporarily is to turn off
You
your
put that
lights so he
audio
can't
too
focus
short.
on you.
Must have been the wind.
But with the drawback of it draining your heat. And you really, really don't want to run out of heat when crawling around down in these pipes.
Life is all about the drain.
Guys, it's
My
fine
guitar
nice and finished,
polishes.
but
I need my
the
guitar
pipes, the
polishes.
heat,
My
the battery,
fretboard
and
polish on my
is
body
basically
polish.
shutting the security doors.
Make sure those are sealed.
It's all in Leb F5. Even still, on his own, Rodland is pretty easy to manage as long as you're not rushing. You'll have a brief moment to react before you turn the light off. I do want to say though, the sound of Rodland's limbs skittering along the pipes are just horrible.
Disgusting.
But on top of that, he's a pretty passive threat, you know, jump scare, turn the
I
light
mean
off.
my current
There you go.
picks, because I have two different picks that I play with. This one's more for strumming because it's bigger and easier to hold on to. This is more for precise movements. It's sharper and smaller. So it's very easy just to hit the notes I would need to instead of extra stuff.
Each map is gradually getting larger, which means there's more ground to cover, which means it's easier to get lost. And on top of that, your boss has another call for you.
Let me grab my music that I was writing here. This is what it looks like whenever I write music, because I don't write on staff, I write tablature.
What was that? Awesome. So on top of Rodland, you now have an actual mouth.
That looks like
breather.
shit. It is, like I said, this is rough
Every
draft.
few minutes. And if you don't keep holding down the ping button to jump scare him, he'll strangle you to death. So this is basically the only game I can think of where I'm the one spamming jump scare sounds. Now, unfortunately, guys, I'd love to lie to you saying I beat this game with absolutely 0 deaths, much like how PewDiePie when he was playing Dark Souls.
Oh my fuck, I forgot about the explosion! No!
You see that death counter?
The problem is, I was already
See that
on the
death
edge of my
counter? It
seat
says
after
0.
being
I didn't
spooked
die
by
once.
Rodland, and my reaction was so bizarre, it actually looks like a paid bit. It doesn't even look like an actual reaction.
Oh my god.
I was freezing to death and just wanted to, you know, check the map. But I wasn't facing a wall, so he couldn't sneak up on me.
They're sending those in more pictures.
And there goes that run at pipe 3. By this point, the atmosphere was...
We might play some guitar on stream because now I'm itching for it now that I've got him on the cool racks.
So everything ramping up so suddenly was really messing with me. I was actually so tweaked out, I started checking my actual surroundings to make sure Rodland wasn't there.
What was that?
What is Blood looking at? Blood has sonar
So even though
senses.
this was the 3rd level in the game, I just...
Ah!
getting rolled.
Just fucking realized that. I had that on camera the entire time.
difficulty.
Don't we
I
keep
ran
on the
out for
bugs
the
on
first time and
camera?
thought I
Has
could
one
make
on
it,
camera the
but
entire
the phantom
fucking
was on me
time.
before I could even finish reading the
God
map.
damn it.
C7.
That's not a big
What does
deal,
that mean?
but
What
damn
does
it,
that mean?
that
What does that mean? What does
sucks.
that mean? What does that mean? Oh, there's something
That
there.
just makes me
there's
look
something there,
dumb and I
there's
hate
something
it.
there. Cannot confirm, possibly 9 pings.
James,
Slow.
I'm not blaming anybody but me for that one.
One thing I did notice
Just in
that's
case
really
you want to
cool,
think that I was
depending
like,
on
why didn't
what
anybody
enemy
say
in the
anything?
pipes actually kills you, you'll get a unique death card. And these are pretty gnarly.
It's
Usually
just
they go with half
hilarious.
Your body being eaten or even irradiated to the point that your body is
Not
just
blaming
never gonna
anybody
be
but
recovered.
myself.
But this isn't all bad. As chat
I
was
know
quick
I
to
used
point
the
out,
words,
none of
why
the
didn't
menus
nobody
except
tell
the
me?
full pause
But
stops
that's
the
my
heat
fault.
from ticking away. Now, one thing you might notice when I pull out anything to use, like for example the scanner or the map, it actually
Look at that,
drains
now I'm
the heat
completely off
faster
camera whenever I
than
smoke
if
weed.
I never used them in the first place. This is another key mechanic in the game because for the most part, you're trying to navigate around pipes. And a lot of the times, you'll probably get lost and want to know where you are. You're only really allowed to pull out your map for a quick second to guess where you are, plot your next point, and put it away because relying on it too much, you'll basically die before you can even complete the mission. So it was obvious. It was time for me to lock in.
I like the
Wow.
PS2 pyro. That
For
was
real
actually
this time.
that was actually a cool
Yeah.
animation.
Complete the mission. So it was obvious.
That's actually
It
cool.
was time for me to lock in.
How much did that cost you? That's cool as fuck though.
Wow. For real this time. Yeah. Yeah, just kill me. I was never going to make that. Even though I said earlier Rodland isn't that much of a threat on his own because he isn't.
Holy crap!
It's still very
Holy
clever because
crap,
for the most part,
Lois.
he'll usually be waiting around a corner of the pipe.
Hold on, guys.
And
You
much
guys
like
gotta
a
see
Dark
this
Souls
stupid
or
cat.
Elden Ring Sweat, he's a master at PvP roll catching. If you don't know what roll catching is, it's a term that's basically used because there's so much
What the
stamina in
fuck?
those games, you could roll around forever.
Company.
So the only real thing the enemy can do.
You guys
is
gotta see
wait
this
until
fucking
you've
cat. Hold
finished
on.
For those couple frames where you're not.
Where's my pictures? Actually, here, it'll be way easier for me to do it like this. Here, James. I'm gonna send these to you. Just because, I mean, you appreciate cats, right? And then here, hang on, let me just go and switch to this real fast. Look at this fucking goober. Look at this fucking goober. What are you doing? What are you? He's still doing. He's still rolling around back there like a fucking madman. What the fuck, Kovu?
Not invulnerable to then catch a hit. That's roll catching. And that's exactly what Rodland will do because he'll always camp at the corner of a pipe. So let's say you're looking at your map, you know exactly where you are, and then you plot out a course to go to the next location
where's
to
my
ping.
printer?
The problem
There
is
it
you'll be
is.
so consumed with that premeditated path
Oh,
you have in your head, you might not even check that he's waiting around a corner to roll
He's
catch
such a
you. Did I
goofy
just really
boy.
pathetically shoehorn in a Dark Souls reference into this video?
He rubbing
Yes, I
and
did.
rolling
Alright,
on
so
Dad's
eventually
coat.
I barely crawled across the finish
It's
line.
not even a
this
coat,
one.
it's a hoodie.
Whoa, no, you ain't stealing this win. You ain't stealing this win. But you know what? I don't care. I
Yeah,
got the
now
job
chat
done.
can
If
see
anything,
you
right
doing
now, I
that.
feel like iDubbbz when he was in the sewer reviewing pickles. Finally, another pipe down. Surely, it can't get harder.
It got harder.
Now, you're probably noticing a trend that every pipe we descend down, another enemy is introduced. I'm sure there is no correlation between that and how Five Nights at Freddy's did the exact same thing each night. And just like you probably guessed, the boss has a call
Printer is plugged in.
Let's go bowling.
letting us know that there's something else that only eats minimum wage plumbers down here.
了解详情请按0，由华语客服为您服务。
Hey, you hear me? Okay, there's gonna be a third one around here. It's red, long head, like a dog or a bird. Just break eye contact if you see him. Alright, look at your probe, map, flyer if you find one, I don't know.
There's a dog bird creature lurking. And if he sees you, you've got to make sure to cover your face.
I
or
get
he'll rip your
okay,
head
I'm picking up all
clean
this
from your
plastic.
shoulders. Now, you do have to keep an item held up to the dog to stop it from killing you. But the problem is, I didn't realize how long you had to keep the item held up, which resulted in a very quick death. I opened the thing! I opened the thing! The problem is with this pipe, it isn't just the dog bird you're dealing with, but every single other enemy that was previously introduced. Dude, that's an
Printer's
XL bully.
making
Someone
off.
flushed that down the drain.
Printer's just making a bunch of
Try
noise.
to not make it about yourself challenge.
Doing its warm-up noise connection
Oh my,
stuff.
can I get a break? Can I get a break? You know when I
No,
talked about
you are
the
a
Dark Souls
YouTuber
term
playing
of
a
roll
horror
caching,
game. You don't get a
now
fucking
I would
break.
like to talk about ganking. Ganking is a term used in
What a
PvP
dandy, Andy,
games
hang on.
like Dark Souls and Elden Ring when you're too much of a coward to 1v1 someone, so instead you get your mates to help you. This is looked down upon in the entire community. You'll always be labeled a coward and probably indicted. So just to recap, you've got Rodland, you need to turn your light off, but then at the same time you've got
So
a
you're
dog and you need
oh.
to cover your face with either your pinger device or your map. And on top of that as well, you've got a mouth breather that you need to keep jump scaring. So this can all get overwhelming very, very quickly. I can imagine the comment section being filled with baby's first Dark Souls, but I gotta make a confession here, guys. I have never played a Five Nights at Freddy's game. The only actual Five Nights at Freddy's game that I played in my life was Security Breach, and that's solely because Vanessa had a fat arm. Now, after being relentlessly
Oh,
jump
of course,
scared
you
by every single
degenerate.
monster in random order, they actually jump in me. They jump in me. I actually managed to pick up a blank photograph. Oh, what's that? That's helpful. And then after that
Okay,
as well,
that
took a
one-
very
that drawer
careless
is still
Rodland
the
death.
same way it was.
I had a severe and continuous lapse in judgment. I thought for a
This
second
one needs
that
to
it was the
be-
dog. The only
I
problem
need
is
to go
now
through this
you've got
one.
another gameplay element, not an actual enemy that chases you, but all this mess and dirt that you've been cleaning throughout the pipes to get to new locations. Some moron has been flushing all of his razors down the toilet, and now you can't do your job without Rodland getting a smell of your blood from the other end of the map. So the first thing you'll probably notice when
I know
you
you
load
guys
up
can't
Pipe
see what I'm
5
doing
is that
right
your
now,
boss
but
doesn't
fine.
actually have anything to say immediately. But as you get to work down here, you'll notice valves. But these aren't normal valves. When you see valves in most games, you'll probably hold a key to, remove steam so you can get to the next area, like every single game copied after Half-Life. But no, these valves are funny shapes. The same funny shapes that are on the photograph. Your mission here, like all
Cool,
the
I
other
like that
pipes,
better,
is
actually.
to ping certain areas and then leave. But if you instead choose to align all the valves with the direction on the photographs, this will open a hatch that usually doesn't exist. And after climbing down the pipe the reverse way, I'm not sure why, I mean, there's a ladder right there, you'll pick up a deranged drawing from one of your past co-workers. I personally don't even believe that the Elder Scrolls moth priests could decipher such insane ramblings.
My vision darkens, and I see no more.
This will then get you a call to head up back the hatch from your boss, and then net you access to one of the secret levels in the game. Regardless though, you've still got to beat the actual map, and because of several undiagnosed mental illnesses, I refuse to do any form of side content until I beat the main game. And this is easily the hardest of the non-secret content. If you're not paying attention, death is incredibly easy. God, the noise that dog makes, I will never get over that. Especially when your chat is as irritating as mine, even reaching the point where they would make fake call-outs to try and throw the run.
D7.
Nah, don't do that. That's not funny. One thing can be said here. Pyro fans
Pretty funny.
have 2 jokes, maybe 3 on a good day. The same jokes that they will run into the ground faster than the crash of the Hindenburg,
You
and
should
then
know
also
this
claim
by
that you're
now,
clip
Pyro,
farming
that
if you react
your
to a
chats are here
single
to
bit.
punish us.
Truly one of the
One
fan
way or
bases of all
another.
time. But regardless, I reached the end and beat the pipe. Easy! So that's everything, right?
We're here to be
Solid
punished.
week's work. Dust yourself off and enjoy the same
There's
minimum
something that
wage
we
of
did in our
Bangladesh,
past
which
where
is a
we did have to
hefty
pay penance, and now we are here
$14.62
streaming
a month
live and making
before
videos to be made
tax.
fun of
But,
on the internet.
just like any real blue-collar worker, the job is never truly done. You've got mandatory overtime to do before you can really say that you're done here.
I'm just waiting for the
first
fuck.
one
That's
is
real.
kind of similar to pipe 1. That's the good news. And also on top of that, there's no threats here.
Yes, yes, yes!
The bad news is the entire map is drawn on a piece of paper towel.
You guys are not going to believe this. KSI
Cheers.
has cancer. Do you want to win all the gifts?
The map also has more valves because, you know, we definitely needed more of them. Not getting sick of that at the minute. The valves here,
I
though,
love
only
that.
have one handle, no pattern.
I love somebody
What you
using
do
that
is find what you're
without
on
the
map
Carl
with
part.
the help of the paper towel. Then use the numbers on the X and Y axis to complete a sum, and the answer would be the number on the wheel, so you'd set the valve handle to the direction of the answer on the right side of the paper towel. Did that make any sense? No? Good, because
No.
I had no idea either, and it took me about an hour of pleading with chat to help me with the answer. Afterwards, I got a fragment of the map, and I was able to leave. So completing the secret map got us more secret content. My favorite kind of reward in any game is completing a secret level to get access to more secret levels. Now this doesn't seem to be too hard, or certainly not as hard as I find reading to be. Again, there doesn't seem to be a threat here. There's only one problem. Notice how the walls are different. They're not made out of pipes, they're made out of paper. In yet another masterstroke by Seven Trents, the UK's biggest water supplier to save money, the entire map is made out of paper, so your heat will drop faster than the average UK pensioner in winter after the government makes another money-saving choice.
Guitar
to
strap,
help
or not guitar
the
strap,
economy.
my fret strap.
The only benefit here is your crawl speed is now
Just to
completely uncapped,
reduce,
which you'll need because
string
if you don't
buzz
complete the
while
map
I'm
in about 20
recording.
seconds, you'll get jump scared by the blue PNG. The uncapped speed is told at the top of the map before selecting it. Warning, heavy energy, movement may be faster than expected, which I assume is a loophole your employers use to inject you with 50 milligrams of pure fent, as no human would ever be able to crawl across fence this quickly without their heart exploding. Eventually, collecting all the plastic shards, you'll unlock the next classified pipe. This pipe seems pretty similar to the earlier levels. You've got all the enemies to juggle with, and it's a huge
Are we
map
still
again.
living, chat? Are we still alive?
But notice how it says, warning, high volatility areas detected. These are marked as strokes on the map. And a stroke is exactly what you'll have when you realize these pipes open and close to take you to completely different parts of the map. Did you plan out a whole route to get to your next ping? That's too bad, because you just climbed into an open mouth and now you've gone from Pipe America to Pipe Japan. Where the only difference is you can hear people rewatching Evangelion up above on Netflix. And yes, they are listening to the English dub. If you're not planning every little movement, you'll probably get eaten
Alright, put
faster
the
than the
alcohol
7-Eleven
away.
front counter Feastables. But this far in, I really feel like I got it. The last ping actually felt super quick.
I'm gonna put the good stuff in the back. We gotta hide the good stuff.
This is where your skills are really put to the test. Every enemy is active at once. The pipes that randomly spit you into other quantum realities are also here. And worst of all, the pipe is the most convoluted and confusing by far. Just
Finish
look
off
at pipe
the
1
scotch
compared
and the
to
less
classified
expensive
pipe
whiskey
4.
first.
Pipe 1 is like reading a guide to build an IKEA desk, and classified pipe 4 is like trying to navigate Twitter without seeing a steak gambling ad. Every time
And
I
then we'll
get
put
close, it felt like the game bizarrely added another
mixed
layer
cocktail
just to
up
force
here
me
with
to
the
restart the run.
glasses.
I'm just gonna restart. I'm literally just wandering around, pinging random stuff. Much like watching a streamer crash out, as sad and horrible as it is to see, you just have to keep coming back for more.
Shut the fuck up!
Much like Fear and Hunger, and yes, that video is coming out. Every time I played this level, I didn't necessarily feel like I was going to win, but just having to do it over and over was burning the layout of the game into my head. I knew that if I stuck with it long enough, I'd get a good run. It wasn't my equipment that was improving, but me, the player. Learning the layouts of these pipes and understanding that, you know, if I got ganked by all three enemies unfairly at the same time, that was totally okay.
Yeah, that's what you think.
That double team is crazy! Just like how in Fear and Hunger, failing a random coin flip 4 hours into the game and losing all your progress is just part of the process. The problem is, though, in Fear and Hunger, I could just spawn in more NPCs to help me by bizarrely humping a wall. But here, there were no walls to hump, only pipes.
There were no
And the
walls
only way
to
I
hump,
could do
I could only
it was
hump
by
the pipe I was
persevering. By
climbing
now,
through.
my palms were sweating for real. Too many runs were lost on that last ping. Much like the opening puzzle to Bioshock Infinite, I didn't get it. It had me perplexed and questioning if there were higher beings out there. What does one scroll mean? And 2 keys and a sword? I didn't find any keys in Bioshock Infinite, so I did the rational thing of uninstalling the game and filing a complaint to Steam support, complaining that this is the reason that we'll never see another Bioshock game. Eventually, after about 5 hours stream, I managed to ping all locations. The only problem is, I still had to get out. So I had to navigate all the way back across the map, avoiding the pipe's resident crackheads, and also trying to remember exactly where the hatch was because the game never tells you. And what was your reward for beating the game? A music video that styled like a YouTube poop, which I can say, honestly, goes kind of hard. If anyone can reach out to Bladey, I'm sure he'd love this guy to produce his music. You can also unlock a custom pipe. Sadly, putting 1987 doesn't give you a jump scare.
Was that the bite? Oh my god! No! No!
Still. But one thing is guaranteed. If you put every multiplier on and set every enemy to its max number, you'll get one-tapped 10 seconds into your run. Is Rodland of Pipes Five Nights at Freddy's, but in pipes? Yes, it is. I can't dodge around that fact. It is still a task-based horror. Five Nights at Freddy's had, you know, put on the mask, wind up the music box, and you have very similar tasks here to not get one-tapped. Much like FNAF, every enemy can only be dealt with in a very specific way. But the limited first-person perspective reminds us that even with the rudimentary graphics, making someone feel anxious really is a skill, one that's not really achieved by accident. If anything,
I'm having
though,
fun
I love
redoing
the
this. I've
fact
been waiting
how
to do this for
claustrophobic this
a
game
little
is.
while
It
now.
makes it terrifying. I think there's one scene in like Five Nights at Freddy's 2 where you're checking a security camera and it's an event. That is basically this entire game. And if anything, it actually draws from much older games like Alone in the Dark. Okay, this is going to sound like a cope, but Alone in the Dark was the first 3D horror game of its kind, in a time where 3D games didn't even really exist. When you look at the gameplay, you're probably tempted to draw comparisons to Resident Evil for the PS1. And we'll get there, but for now, keep in mind that Resident Evil wouldn't come out for another 4 years when Alone in the Dark hit the market. Alone in the Dark feels stiff and aged because of its rigid tank controls, but so much of what gives horror games their identity is present here, especially what we were talking about earlier with only being able to see a specific part of the area you're in. The fact that Alone in the Dark feels the way it does is probably a matter of happenstance rather than, you know, strict intent. Unlike Resident Evil or Silent Hill, there was really nothing.
I got
before it to
triggered
go
when
off,
I
so
heard
in
that
terms of how a
noise.
character should move around in a 3D space in 1992.
Hold
it's also
on a
game that's
minute.
extremely unforgiving. Which is exactly how Rodland of Pipes feels, because
Can't
you
play
can
too much
only go
Undertale music
forwards or
without getting
backwards. You
copyright
can turn
claim.
left or right, but if you're backed up into a corner, you can only really go forward, and there might be something waiting around the corner.
Dude, how'd you get there?
In Alone in the Dark, you fought off ghosts, zombies, and other creatures of the night, while also solving puzzles to escape a mansion. In Resident Evil, you face zombies, sharks, dogs, birds, wasps, and other infected monsters, while solving puzzles to escape a mansion. So Resident Evil isn't exactly like Alone in the Dark, you know, given the giant snake and massive shark.
Are you guys going trick-or-treating?
But the point I'm trying to make is Resident Evil and maybe even Silent Hill wouldn't have been so influential if Alone in the Dark hadn't established a lot of the core design ideas. In the same sense, Five Nights at Freddy's is not working entirely from scratch. I mean, sure, the characters are all original, but Five Nights at Freddy's also uses the idea of not being able to see an entire area, like in older survival horror games that I mentioned before, but in a very different way. In FNAF, agency is taken away entirely. You don't even get the option to run if you're stuck in place. I know people like to say that FNAF is basically just a PNG jump scare game, but when it dropped, people found it terrifying. That or YouTubers were probably overreacting, realizing they'd get banger videos. But what I like like about Rodland of Pipes is it takes Five Nights at Freddy's core principle of not letting the players fight back against enemies, but also giving you incredibly limited movement. I mean, I wouldn't even call these tank controls, because tank controls you can at least go left and right. These are pipe controls. You can only go left and right if there's an actual junction to do so. It even expands on this by messing with your sense of direction, much like how early Resident Evil or Silent Hill games worked. You're left to figure out things like, where is the room with the statue? And why is the voice acting so bad?
This town is full of pizza. How can you sit there and eat monsters?
Rodland of Pipes, on the other hand, is gracious enough to give you a full map right from the start, but it's designed in such a way that it leaves you with very few entirely distinct areas. There are no landmarks here, it's just pipes and pings and coordinates. The result is a sense of massive disorientation, not caused by a lack of knowledge, but by how similar the game's spaces feel. And there's no respite in knowing your surroundings because they all blur together, apart from each map having a different color.
That's everything from that
pretty much
side.
it. The only real landmark that I can think of are the valves on the walls that we used for optional side content, and this creates a constant nagging feeling that you haven't quite grasped the layout of the world. I know I'm massively overanalyzing a game where you're climbing around in pipes, but I just think the way that they went with the direction here is really cool because horror games are incredibly saturated. I mean, a good example is how many videos on this channel have I opened up with by saying, oh, I don't like horror games, they're full of jump scares. This game still has jump scares, but it works really well because you're already in this horrible claustrophobic atmosphere. The subtle sense of spatial confusion really makes Rodland of Pipes stand out, especially in the context of older survival horror games. I get it, the game's bare bones, there's only 3 enemies, there's not really any kind of item management, there's barely any side content, but you can see that Rodland of Pipes has taken lessons from older horror games and incorporated some of the strategies while also adding its own flair. You know, the idea of controlling your own movement and limiting your perspective, paired with the disorientating level design, it creates this really eerie atmosphere that keeps you constantly on edge. I would say that it has great environmental storytelling, but honestly, apart from the fatbergs and all the twigs and finding my 5th razor blade, there isn't really much to go off. There is, however, leaflets that you can pick up throughout the game that give you lore. I haven't really gone over it because I feel like the game dev was just kind of tweaking out because most of this is just completely unreadable and has a scary face on it. In Five Nights at Freddy's, you were scared of the jump scares or you knew a jump scare was about to happen. In Rodland of Pipes, you're scared because you're stuck in a claustrophobic pipe with no way out until you complete every single objective. So what does Rodland of Pipes mean to me? AAA gaming is dead. Yep, there you go.
All right. Next video from James. Oh, this is a whole playlist.
Just like regular sports, the world of esports is full of cheaters. And with the rise of online gaming tournaments and streaming platforms like Twitch, some gamers exploit these cheats to help them score a quick win. But it takes just one wrong click to completely expose them and bring their little gaming empires to their knees. So, let's take a look at some hackers, liars, and dim-witted cheaters who got caught on camera trying to play the system.
Can't wait for Dream to be in there.
Miss Q Gemini. Now, cheating in video games isn't a crime, but the way streamer Miss Q Gemini tried to cover up her blatant cheating absolutely was. This young, ambitious gamer regularly streamed herself playing the ferociously competitive Counter-Strike Global Offensive, or CSGO for short, which is an online multiplayer first-person shooter game. However, back in 2017, she started her stream with a huge rant about how she'd been unfairly accused of cheating.
You know what's really sad? That sometimes, you know, because I'm female in Counter-Strike, people are like, you're cheating!
Way to tell off those pesky trolls. But then, during the game's warm-up
You're a girl,
phase, she
therefore you
seemed
must
to
be
forget
cheating.
that the whole world could see her screen, and she brought up a cheat software menu. After hitting the load coding button, all of her rivals' ranks and locations suddenly began appearing through the walls. For those of you who don't play CSGO, I can tell you now, this ain't normal. It's called a wall hack, which allows players to locate their opponents through solid objects in the game's arena. Hacks like this are a sneaky way of gaining the upper hand in multiplayer shooter games, and Miss Q Gemini's viewers were quick to pick up on it. But blissfully unaware she'd been caught, she continued to play
Blissfully
and,
unaware. Bitch, you
even
did it
worse,
on stream.
lose. And it's at that point she finally realized what she'd done, as you can see from her facial expressions. After being caught red-handed, you'd think this would be the time to fess up, right? Well, take a listen to the cringy excuses that start falling out of her mouth.
You guys, do you guys ever get that that weird glitch in CS:GO where it shows your rank? That it shows everyone's rank. Clara, give me 1 second. Clara, let me just message this girl. Give me 1 second. She promised me she didn't use it on my PC. I'm fucking done. This is what happens when you let people use your PC. Can't trust him. Alright, that's nice to know.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't Clara that we watched load the cheat code at the beginning of this game. After that, Miss Q Gemini guiltily abandoned the match, and her CS:GO account was eventually slapped with an anti-cheat ban. But following massive backlash from the streaming community, her Twitch account also disappeared soon after, along with any chance she ever had of making it as a pro gamer.
Maybe she should have tried playing a game where you don't need to cheat to win. Like this video's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
Nope.
This free-to-play
Nope.
RPG
Nope.
is a
Nope.
dark
Nope.
fantasy phenomenon.
Forsaken. When it comes to cheating in CSGO, it's safe to say no player has ever been more humiliated than Nikhil Forsaken Kumawat. During the Extremes Land Zowie Asia tournament in 2018, Forsaken was competing as part of the pro esports team Optic India. They'd entered into the top-tier CSGO tournament, which had a hefty prize pool of $100,000. But as Forsaken was playing, someone reported him for suspicious activity, and an administrator was called in. At first, Forsaken boldly refused the admin access to his terminal, but after they asserted their position, they probed into his setup and discovered a suspicious program running in the background. When it was pointed out, Forsaken unbelievably batted their hands away and tried to delete it in front of their eyes. Stunned, the administrators disqualified Forsaken on the spot, and the entire Optic India team was booted from the event. When they finally got a good look at Forsaken's terminal, they discovered the illegal aimbots he'd been desperately trying to delete. These are hacks that provide easier target acquisition for players and are expressly prohibited by CSGO. But what made it worse was that they'd been accessed multiple times, meaning he'd cheated in many different matches in order to get his hands on that prize money. Appalled by his actions, Forsaken was handed a full 5-year ban from the Esports Integrity Coalition. The pro player was also booted from his team, but in the overwhelmingly embarrassing aftermath, Optic India was dissolved altogether. Now, even if your aim is as bad as Forsaken's, you don't need an aimbot to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. Go ahead, prove that you're better than that cheater ever will be. Now, where were we? Tavo Betancourt. Have you ever heard of speedrunning before? It's where players record themselves racing to complete levels or entire games as fast as humanly possible. And some of these times are so fast, they're only separated by the split second of a button push. It's not the most well-known style of gameplay, but because the community is made up of passionate nerds like me, speedrunning is a serious business. And that's why YouTuber Tavo Betancourt came under heavy fire when Mexican channel Badabun uploaded his insanely fast Super Mario Bros. Speedrun back in 2017. He effortlessly sailed through the entire game, completing it in a respectable 5 minutes and 12 seconds. While this run earned him plenty of online views, the speedrunning community spotted some serious problems. For a start, even though the attempt was just 5 minutes long, Tavo took the time to guzzle down Coke and pizza as he was playing. Surely, if he were taking this seriously, he could have waited 5 minutes to have his dinner, right? Secondly, the game's counters suspiciously didn't match what was happening in the footage. Like here, where Tavo collects 11 coins, but the counter curiously increases by 12. It was clear that Tavo had stolen someone's speedrun footage and mashed it with a different counter so that it wasn't too obvious he'd stolen it. But this minor mistake didn't escape the attention of real speedrunners. They tracked down the original footage and revealed that it had been brazenly
You can't fuck
stolen
with
from world
speedrunners.
record speedrunner Darbian. And when the community found out, Tavo was crucified online. He later admitted what he'd done and apologized, claiming it was just part of a social experiment. Lame excuses aside, it's pretty clear that this was just done for clout, seeing how, despite his apology, his run is still up on Padabun's channel. Although now, I reckon it'll take more than video splicing for
clear
Tavo
defense.
to outrun his ruined reputation. Superfast Jellyfish. The impossibly precise button presses and muscle memory required for speedrunning are insanely difficult to master, which is why blindfolded speedrunning is even more mind-blowing. Just
Bubsy
using
is a
audio
legit-
cues
a
and
legitimate
their
blindfolded
memory,
runner,
players
right?
complete games as quickly as possible without once
I'm pretty sure
looking at
Bubsy
the
is one of the
screens.
legit ones.
Considering most people couldn't even get past a start menu blindfolded, this is some god-tier gaming. So when unknown gamer
Oh,
Superfast
yeah,
Jellyfish
this is the-
live
this is the cheater.
blindfolded speedrun of Super Mario 64 in just 42 minutes, the speedrunning community was stunned, but not in a good way. For a start, there are only 3 certified blindfolded streamers who have submitted their times into this category, ranging from 24 minutes to 1 hour and 58 minutes. This would have put Superfast Jellyfish in 3rd, even though he claimed he'd only ever done 3 blindfolded speedruns before. But compared to his competitors, Superfast Jellyfish's gameplay was suspicious. He left audio alerts on, which are hugely distracting and can mess up a real blindfolded speedrunner's timing.
Let's go. Thank you for the follow. I fell off. I can tell I fell off.
This is your second blindfolded run, isn't it?
Technically this is my 3rd.
Unfazed by this, he then talked continuously through sections that real blindfolded speedrunners know requires careful attention to audio details.
Did I check for saves? No, because I don't save the game.
These were huge red flags for the speedrunning community, and they called out Superfast Jellyfish for cheating by using a blindfold he could see through. Clearly caught out, Superfast Jellyfish eventually came clean. Well, kinda.
What you may not know is that that speedrun was purposely fake. It was purposely fake.
Instead of a proper apology, he tried to save face by claiming he purposefully faked the speedrun. And yet, he only admitted this after he was exposed? Yeah, that's called cheating, but better luck next time. Joshua Ottenil Kriegshauser. Game developers often stream games they're working on as an awesome way of interacting with the game's community, but these developers usually have special abilities other players don't, which can look like cheats, as Joshua Ottenil Kriegshauser awkwardly discovered back in 2017. The technical director of the Battle Royale game H1Z1 decided to stream the match.
So there was this girl who tried to cheat the same way, but basically using a paper-thin blindfold to speedrun, beating Altrayan. Or Alatrayan. I can't say that. What the fuck? In, Monster Hunter World. She had the whole trilogy of her trying to get away with. Jesus Christ.
Match he was playing with his friends on Twitch, but when he blasted through a rival group of players, their reactions shocked him.
What's happening?
Why are you cheating? Really, dude? You're cheating?
A dev cheating.
Wait, can you not see him?
You can't see me?
Yes. Oh, he is, I mean.
Oh my god, am I hidden?
Ooh, cheating like that definitely isn't a good look for a developer. Although it seems like he genuinely
Tried to go
forgotten
three
to
different
turn off
times
his
and
special cloak
had
of
her
invisibility.
being interviewed
Either
live,
that,
trying to-
or he
Jesus
just really wanted to show those 12-year-olds who was boss. Azubu Frost. With over 100 million monthly players, League of Legends is one of the largest online multiplayer games in the world. For those who don't know it, it involves 2 teams battling it out to occupy and defend their half of a map. And to do this, players have to strategically attack or hide from the other team. But professional esports team Azubu Frost found an inventive way around this back in 2012. During the Season 2 World Championships, Azubu Frost faced off against Team Solo Mid. From the get-go, the match was plagued by technical issues which caused multiple pauses. But during these pauses, members of Team Azubu Frost sneakily checked out the mini-map that was being broadcast on the huge stadium screen behind them. This allowed them to see exactly where the other team was heading and what they were planning. Team Captain Woong in particular looked back at the screen on a number of occasions before recklessly altering his gameplay. Azubu Frost won the round, but an investigation by League of Legends developer Riot Games later determined that Woong clearly gained an unfair advantage by looking at the screens. He also shared the information with his team, which led them to certain victory. For this unsportsmanlike behavior, Azubu Frost was fined 20% of their tournament winnings, costing them a grand total of $30,000.
They still got the winnings though? That's insane.
Mr. Golds. Some streamers play games in a way that can really divide an audience, like Mr. Golds, for example. At his peak, his Twitch streams boasted a respectable average of 2,000 live viewers, where he routinely bragged about how good he was at Call of Duty Warzone. But during a stream from August 2020, one of his viewers noticed something strange on his screen. Can you see what their cursor is pointing out?
Have you ever seen anyone playing like me? Like seriously?
Yup, while Mr. Golds was shamelessly bragging about how he's so good that he doesn't need to cheat, he had the cheating software Engine Owning running in the background. Engine Owning is an app that freely admits it sells cheat software for many games, including Call of Duty, like their Aim at Enemies hack, which Mr. Golds clearly had set to on in the background.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
After he was rightfully exposed, Mr. Golds' channel received temporary suspension, as Twitch's guidelines ban the streaming of cheats in any online games. Although his channel is now back up, this cheater hasn't recovered enough dignity to show his face on the platform since.
Cheats? Like you can't do cheat? Like you can't just do
FaZe
cheats?
Jarvis. Just about every fan of the Battle Royale game Fortnite knows the name FaZe Jarvis, but not necessarily in a good way. This British YouTuber and gamer rose to fame when he joined the mega
I can see
popular
it.
esports group.
I can see it if you're like doing like a speed run or something, or playing a competitive game that. No, that's what I mean. Like that's what I was getting at. I was explaining myself. Like if you're doing a speed run or if you're playing a competitive game, Call of Duty, whatever the hell, I understand that. Cheats though, like cheats in general, like even if I'm just using like the big head cheat or something, cheats aren't allowed. Or is it just like competitive cheating, like you can't have aimbots and shit on in games? Because that's understandable, but I'm like, well, I just turned on the big head cheat. Or I turned on infinite ammo. I mean, in old school games, turning on infinite ammo was a cheat code or something like that. So is that illegal? Like if I'm playing the Halo campaign, can I not turn on cheat? Can I not play cheats? Like if I'm just playing for fun and I'm like being competitive or anything, I'm not trying to speed run. I don't know. That's fucking weird. I understand it, but I'm like, is it vague like that, or does it actually like cover certain things versus others?
FaZe Clan in 2019. He'd been uploading his Fortnite gameplay to YouTube since 2018, with many of his videos garnering millions of views each. His channel was made up almost exclusively of Fortnite gameplay, but then in 2019, he made an unfathomably dumb decision. He uploaded a video where he openly claimed to be using an aimbot.
because I've got the hack open and stuff, it's making my Streamlabs like lag, so I can't do that. You won't be able to see on the recording that I've got the mod, but just so you guys know I do. This is what happens. Look, aimbot FOV, aimbot FOV. Like, I don't know what half this stuff means, but it's actually.
You guys can
about
tell
to
I
be-
don't cheat
we're
when I play
about to
Fortnite because
pop
I haven't
off.
won a game.
Mate, how's it not hitting anyone?
What?
I got aimbot.
Look at this. Look at this.
While the hilariously controversial video made him some sweet YouTube money, Fortnite's developers Epic Games didn't see the funny side of it. They have a zero-tolerance policy to any kind of cheating, let alone bragging about it to millions of people online. Without missing a beat, Epic Games brought down the hammer and immediately banned Jarvis's account. But the
See, that's
ban
what I mean,
wasn't
like, stuff
just
like
for
that,
a month
that
or
makes
even
sense.
two,
Ban that.
but
That's
for
not allowed.
life. And this didn't mean he was only banned from the community. He was also prohibited from participating in all future Fortnite gaming events. What a staggering self-own. In true YouTube
Tragic.
style, Jarvis released a tearful apology video admitting his infraction
Please let
and
me play
accepting
Fortnite
Epic
again.
Games' decision.
I'm truly like so sorry. Epic, I know I have to take accountability for my actions, and you know I'm gonna do my best to accept any punishment that like comes my way, whatever happens. I'm not trying to find like a quick road out, but like being banned forever is just like thinking about a lifetime ban is just I just didn't
Imagine flying over
I didn't
Fortnite.
expect this would happen.
Even
sure, I
with
get
all
bummed
those
out when I
tears,
lose,
his
but I don't
account
cry.
remains banned almost 2 years on. Well, it's pretty clear that when it comes to cheating, Epic Games definitely doesn't play around. Zacubus. In the UK, there's one gamer who's known for his dapper skills as well as his
Bursts,
dapper
busts
styles.
out ukulele.
David Zacubus Tracy is a
Plays the
tie-wearing,
minor chords
shirt-sporting
on
Twitch
the
streamer
guitar.
who's been gaming professionally for more than 17 years. But even with all that experience and style behind him, it didn't stop him from cheating at the DreamHack Gaming Convention back in 2018. He was caught teaming in Fortnite, which is where a player talks to and works with rival players instead of taking them out in-game. Although just about every Fortnite player does it, streaming it from Europe's largest gaming convention wasn't Zacubus's brightest idea.
Oh! What?
Damn.
Well, if you're going to stream to thousands of people at a high-profile event, you should probably stick to the rules, no matter how suave you look. Johnny K. Now, just about anyone can cheat in Fortnite, but it takes seriously huge kahunas to cheat during the Fortnite World Cup. Considering the prize pool is around $100 million, it's
Jesus
no wonder
fuck!
people are tempted to turn to illicit means of winning. But for professional player Jonathan Johnny K. Kosmala of Team Caliber, the overwhelming temptation to cheat got the better of him. In 2019, this player was exposed online after his Discord messages with a well-known cheat seller were made public. You can see Johnny K, named here as Big Boy, was trying to purchase an ESP cheat. This is a hack that allows a player to see the locations of all of their enemies, even if there are walls or terrain in the way. After downloading it, Johnny K started a call with the seller, who walked him through the process of installing it. But unfortunately for Johnny K, the seller recorded their entire call.
Oh, you didn't even. This one?
Get
that one. That's the deal you're gonna need.
Initially, it all seemed to be running smoothly. He logged into his official account with the cheat software running, and the game loaded without issue. But all of a sudden, his account was flagged by Fortnite's anti-cheat software, and he was immediately booted from the game for cheating. And to really rub salt in the wound, the seller then released their entire call for the world to see. After being so thoroughly exposed, Team Caliber wasted no time booting the cheater out of their team and cut all ties with him. Well, as bad as it looks, I don't reckon Johnny K's fall from grace hurt too much. After all, his massive kahunas probably broke his fall. Marky Locuras. Even though Fortnite is one of the biggest video games in the world, it still suffers from its fair share of bugs. While exploiting these bugs is generally frowned upon, abusing them in professional matches or tournaments is obviously a dumb move. But not obvious enough for pro Fortnite player Marky Locuras. During the 2019 ESL Katowice Royale Fortnite tournament, which had a grand prize of $500,000, the professional Team Heretic player was reduced to 0 hit points. But thanks to a bug, he wasn't eliminated, and quickly discovered he could keep playing. Now, he should have alerted an administrator to the error. Instead, he exploited the bug and waited to be revived by his teammates. But when his teammates asked him what had happened, he did this. So it's clear he knew he'd done something wrong, but he was trying to avoid being detected. Eventually, the admin spotted what he'd done and asked him to leave. But unbelievably, Marky refused.
But give me a reason. Yeah, I need a reason.
After stalling for as long as he could, he was finally convinced to leave his terminal and was disqualified from the tournament. But this incident sparked a huge debate online. Technically, it was a glitch, so it wasn't like Marky had purposefully engineered the cheat.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair,
really
but you should have just reported it.
And exploit it. Ultimately, he didn't face any kind of punishment.
That's fair. That's a glitch. You can't. Yeah, that's a bug. You can't really fix that. But
that judgment was fair.
Bro should have been like, shh, no, don't say anything. Hey, man, I had a glitch. I just want to be fucking honest.
Let me know down in the comments. Shroud.
Uh-oh.
Like Fortnite, PlayerUnknown's Battleground, or PUBG for short, is a battle royale style game that has a huge problem with hackers. Since it was released in 2017, most of the cheats used in this game revolve around improving a player's accuracy or speed. But there's one cheat that's so hilariously dumb, even famous streamer Michael Shroud Grzizek simply couldn't resist getting involved with it. With more than 9 million followers on Twitch, this professional streamer racks up tens of thousands of views per stream. And this meant there were plenty of witnesses when he joined in with the hijinks of this group of hackers back in 2018.
I'm busy. What the hell?
Just like in the real world, cars in PUBG aren't meant to fly like that. But Shroud couldn't resist the offer of a free ride.
Shit, can you take me to the zone real quick?
Yeah. I actually sell these cheats for a living.
Wait, don't.
Unfortunately, after this, Shroud hit a dead end. Like Fortnite, PUBG has a very strict no cheating policy that it enforces indiscriminately, and the ban hammer came down on Shroud's account for a whole month. He later apologized and admitted he knew what he was doing, but that he just wanted to have a little fun. I mean, it's hard to blame him. After all, if someone offered you the chance to ride in a flying car, it'd be pretty hard to turn down, right? Chuck. The NBA 2K21 community is an extremely competitive group of players who take any hint of cheating very seriously, as professional player and YouTuber Chuck found out back in 2020. This was when rival player T-Jack critiqued his gameplay and called him out online for using a modified controller.
What? I'm not defending him, but he doesn't. The Zen start in the center. It doesn't matter. You can do it without it, bro. Let's watch. Do it. Shoot a fade.
If you don't play NBA 2K21, like me, that explanation probably flew right over your head. So let me break it down. You may be thinking that a modified controller has levers and buttons designed to make quicker and easier button hits, but they don't always look that obvious. Controllers like the Cronus Zen, for example, can run software like aimbots, which makes scoring hoops in the game much easier. And this is something that T-Jack aggressively accused Chalk of doing.
Why does his bar not move in this game? His bar does not move. Hold on. It looks like let's look at this. Why does his bar not move?
When you gotta aim.
But Chalk wasn't taking this lying down. He uploaded a video showing every single button press he made on his controller to prove he wasn't cheating.
Nothing changed. You guys have seen my controller the entire time. And I'm playing uncomfortable because I gotta have my hands so high.
Nothing changes, bro. Literally nothing changes. I'm shooting with X and I'm still greening. What's the next one? Green. You see it, bro. Nothing's changing. You see it.
However, this gaming community was already in full witch hunt mode. Despite Chalk's proof, more and more accusations began flooding Chalk's chats. Eventually, the pressure became too much for him to handle, and Chalk broke down live on one of his streams.
See it, and you don't see that these dudes sit.
What is my my level?
While there's no way to really tell whether or not Chalk was using a modified controller, the NBA 2K21 community still seems pretty divided. So what do you think? Did Chalk cheat, or is he just being dunked on for being really good at this game? Let me know down in the comments. Hosty. Hearthstone is an incredibly popular digital strategy card game which has close to 24 million active players around the world. And unlike a regular game of cards, you can't cheat by peeking over your opponent's shoulder. But back in 2015, during the Hearthstone Pinnacle 2 tournament, pro player Rafael Hosty Santilli found a way around this. As part of the professional esports team Arkan, Hosty was one of just 6 players invited to compete in the tournament, which had a prize pool of $5,000. His match with Team Nihilim's Adrian life coach Koi was live streamed for all the world to see. But partway through, viewers suddenly noticed something strange in Hosty's background.
That's a bit surprising to me.
That's surprising to me too.
Embarrassingly, Hosty's setup was being reflected in the picture frame behind him, showing he was looking at 2 separate monitors, and one of them had the tournament live stream on it, meaning Hosty had a full view of life coach's hand.
That's
This is
scummy
what's known
as
stream
fuck.
sniping, and it's the digital version of peeking at your opponent's cards. Allegations immediately flooded the internet, and in a matter of hours, Team Arkan dropped Hosty from their roster like a hot cheating potato. Hosty later admitted to having the stream up on the second monitor, but argued that because the stream was on a 10-minute delay, it didn't help him gain an advantage. Considering he lost to life coach, that kinda adds up. But if Hosty was trying to cheat, this was a hilariously terrible attempt. XQC. Felix XQC Lengyel is one of Twitch's most popular streamers with a follower count of over 8 million. Streaming multiple times a week, often for more than 24 hours, it's hardly surprising that weird and hilarious stuff is often captured on his camera. But back in December 2020, he had some serious explaining to do when this slip-up happened live on stream.
What the f was that?
Did you see that? Well, if I enhance that 5th file from the left, can you see it now? That, my friends, is a big file labeled cheats. Admittedly, it's completely empty, if to do when this slip-up happened live on stream.
What the f was that?
Did you see that? Well, if I enhance that 5th file from the left, can you see it now? That, my friends, is a big file labeled cheats. Admittedly, it's completely empty, but why would XQC have had it in the first place? And considering how much he panicked when that window opened, he didn't exactly seem innocent, but he had an explanation ready.
And your randomizer, there's something called cheats, and those cheats are like to make the game different. Like, if you're doing a certain run, you have to use a cheat folder.
So, he needed it to change the difficulty of his Pokemon games. As legitimate as he makes it sound, using any kind of cheats or hacks in games is against Twitch's community guidelines. Despite this smoking gun, Twitch didn't take any action, even though he'd been caught cheating less than a month before. This happened when, during GlitchCon's Twitch Rivals Fall Guys tournament, XQC decided to target other players taking part in this Battle Royale platform game. He singled them out by stream sniping and then sabotaged their attempts to win. But what's worse is that he didn't even make the effort to hide that he was watching his opponent's streams.
That is
with the stream snipe?
Who got fed? Who got fed?
With his opponent in his sights, you can see his eyes darting to and from his rival's stream as he plays, so he knows when and where to sabotage him.
I'm gonna put you in emo only mode.
This is a bad idea, bro. I don't think he realizes how big of a mistake he's
Who's
made.
that? Who's that? Who's that?
Yo!
Cougar, you're up, right?
Look at him all tapping, he's looking!
Unfortunately for XQC, stream sniping directly violates Twitch's code of conduct. They slapped him with a 6-month ban from future Twitch Rivals events, forced him to forfeit his GlitchCon winnings, and suspended him from the platform for 7 days. Maybe he should have stuck with Pokemon. Do you know of any other streamers or gamers who have been caught cheating live on camera? Let me know down in the comments below, and who knows, they might even get some screen time in my next video. Thanks for watching.
Gotta go back up. I'm not leaving this part unfinished.
If you've played any online multiplayer games lately, you'll know that cheaters are a big problem. Some cheaters install hacks to make the game easier for them, or just to ruin it for everyone else. But others think they're so smart they live stream games with these cheats secretly on, pretending to be good just to gain an audience. Though all it takes is one wrong button press to reveal what they're really up to. With that said, let's take a look at even more streamers and gamers who were caught cheating. Icy Vixen and Bearded Banger. Call of Duty is one of the biggest and most competitive online multiplayer game franchises on the market. It's so popular that Alex Zedra, the voice actor of the game's Warcom operator Mara, has gained more than 475,000 followers on Twitch alone. Occasionally, she helps boost smaller Call of Duty streamers by hosting them on her channel. But one day, while she was hosting a streamer called Icy Vixen to thousands of her followers, she noticed that this girl was playing, well, too well.
Got a vehicle here.
Can you get chef? He's a one right here.
Down.
Did you see that? The millisecond she came over the hill, she hit a faraway target that she hadn't seen before with a perfect shot. That, my friends, is sus. Vixen appeared to be using a wall hack, or an aimbot, or maybe both. Wall hacks, or ESP hacks, allows players to locate enemies through solid objects, like walls and terrain, whereas aimbots provide better target acquisition, making it easier to hit other players. Both hacks are expressly banned in Call of Duty, but it seemed like Icy Vixen was 2 for 2 with that otherwise impossible shot. Rightfully annoyed, Alex did some digging and quickly discovered Icy Vixen was a model whose streaming partner, Bearded Banger, was also hacking the game. Now, most cheating streamers feebly calibrate their hacks so that their cheating doesn't look too obvious. But this guy was so brazen, he was trying to trick his audience into thinking he could track enemies with pinpoint precision like this. Ugh, pathetic. And I'm not the only one who thinks so. Wasting no time, Alex called out the pair on Twitter. Twitch immediately shut down both the cheaters' streams, banned them, and the embarrassing backlash saw both of them delete all their social media accounts. But the drama didn't end there. Real gamers began trawling back through Vixen's past streams and analyzing her play. Her aim was always perfect, even when she didn't have her hands anywhere near her setup. So it seemed she'd been using these hacks for years entirely undetected. Well, considering she won't be welcomed back into the gaming community anytime soon, I hope she's better at modeling than she is at Call of Duty. Young. Because most online multiplayer games and streaming sites have a zero-tolerance cheating policy, streamers who use them have to be really careful about what they show their audience. Otherwise, they could reveal their cheating live on stream, as this next idiot demonstrated so well. Back in February 2021, aspiring Call of Duty Black Ops pro player Young was streaming his game on Twitch, but he was playing a little too well, and his chat started accusing him of cheating. He denied this and claimed he could prove his innocence by opening his task manager to show he had no cheat software running in the background. But this backfired hard. When he opened it up and continued playing, he didn't realize his stream now showed two different views, his game capture and the stream capture. The stream capture, which was what he was broadcasting, looked normal, but the game capture revealed some very sus red boxes with health bars appearing through the walls. Furious, his once fans and critics took no time clipping the video and sharing it far and wide over the internet. Disgraced and ashamed, Young quickly deleted his social media accounts and was eventually banned from Twitch. While I imagine getting exposed hurts, accidentally exposing yourself must be a whole new level of pain. Twisted Bear. Considering how competitive Call of Duty is, you'd either have to be real good or real dumb to claim you're the top Modern Warfare player in your Twitch bio. Amazingly, that's just what streamer Twisted Bear did back in 2020. And I'll tell you now, this guy was about as dumb as they come. A pretty talented gamer with good stats, he started up his stream as usual, destroying his opponents from all angles. But in a god-tier idiot maneuver, he forgot to hit the button that hid the hacks he was clearly using from his stream capture. For anyone who doesn't play Modern Warfare, I can tell you now, those yellow boxes and enemies' glowing exoskeletons that can be seen across the map aren't normal. That's a textbook wall hack. The clip quickly started making the rounds on forum sites like Reddit, which encouraged a lot of people to report him. Because both Call of Duty and Twitch have a zero-tolerance policy towards cheating, both his accounts were banned, and he hasn't shown his face again on either platform since. Well, he may have thought of himself as a top player, but that was a noob mistake. Now, you don't need a wall hack to locate those like and subscribe buttons down below, and you probably don't need an aimbot to hit them. I say probably, but prove me wrong. Alright, who's next? Semper0311. When gamers get caught cheating, one of two things usually happens. They either issue an emotional apology, or they wordlessly disappear from the gaming community. However, there's a third way of dealing with the fallout, as Semper0311 demonstrated back in 2020. This little-known Twitch streamer was playing Destiny 2 to less than 20 viewers when someone in his chat commented that his opponents were appearing through the walls, highlighted in telltale red boxes. Idiotically, Semper read the comment out perplexed, and then realized all too late what he'd done.
I had no ammo.
Hold on, be quiet.
The screen has the red squares around them.
Oh my god.
Realizing he'd been caught streaming with hacks on, Semper acted confused, pretended not to know what the red squares were, and ended the stream. He quickly deleted the footage, but not before his followers had clipped the most damning parts and posted them online for the whole community to see. Even then, he kept on pretending that he had no idea what this very blatant wall hack was. In later streams, he even threatened his viewers with the ban hammer to stop them from bringing it up.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And I didn't, dude. So again, if you want to get banned, you can keep saying that.
Ever so
ban you
slightly
too.
long.
But then he quickly changed his tune.
But there was wall hacks on my computer yesterday on stream. Like, I'm not denying that. I just don't know how they got there.
What next? Is he gonna start blaming Clara for the hacks on his computer? If you
The
don't get
Clara
that joke, go and
defense.
watch part 1 of this series. Despite his feigned ignorance, Semper was banned from the game. I guess becoming a pro player just wasn't part of his destiny. Solista. Many game
We got a
companies
piece of
have spent
cardboard or something?
years
Speaking of
developing systems to detect and ban players that use hacks in-game, but few are as good as Valorant's system. This team-based first-person shooter was only
It's
recently
ever so
released in
slightly off, and I
2020,
really don't want
but it
to
took
drill it
no
again,
time
so I'm
for
going to try
cheaters
using
to
a piece of
build a
cardboard
series
to
of hacks to help
line
them
it up.
win. However, the minute the game's Vanguard system detects someone using hacks, it shuts down the entire match and boots the cheater to help keep its leaderboards free from these tedious morons. But Vanguard isn't perfect, something that streamer and player Solista attempted to exploit back in April 2021. Ranked 65th out of millions of North American players, Solista was gradually making a name for himself in the Valorant community. But all of a sudden, this happened live on his stream.
What? Really, dude?
Yup, Vanguard shut the game down because it detected Solista was cheating. He may have seemed confused, but to me, that was the least convincing "really, dude" I've ever heard in my life. After running away from the problem like a baby, other gamers began analyzing snippets of Solista's gameplay. And in hindsight, it looked hella suspicious. His aim dubiously snapped onto his target's heads, and he appeared to shoot without hitting a single button. Solista later claimed he was using the spacebar just off camera to shoot, but the damage was done. Solista's name was removed from the ranks, his Twitch account went dark, and he hasn't shown his face online since. Paximo. Now, streamers who use hacks try not to make it obvious they're doing so while they're broadcasting. Otherwise, their audience might call them out and use the footage as evidence. Though Valorant player and Twitch streamer Paximo didn't seem to get that memo. He'd managed to dupe the vigilant Vanguard system, but he couldn't escape the eagle eyes of his followers back in June 2021.
Feeling safe.
Did you see that? Let's rewind and slow down. Somehow, Paximo knew someone was behind that wall, tracked them perfectly, and then hit them with the headshot the minute they stepped out. Like that wasn't sus enough on its own, he also fired a perfect shot through the smoke, even though he couldn't see the target. Rookie mistake. After several people reported him, karma quickly came knocking.
He's close right.
Why did my game just freeze?
Why did my...
Oh.
Now, Paximo clearly thought he was too clever to have been caught, and tried to log back in using a different account, but Vanguard was having none of it.
Restart.
Dude, what is going on? Dude, actually, I don't know what's going on.
After realizing this wasn't a glitch and that he really had been caught, he guiltily shut off his stream. You see, Vanguard bans the user's hardware ID, which makes it impossible for them to log back in unless they purchase a new PC to play on. He was quickly banned by Twitch as well, and hasn't shown his face online since. Well, I think the lesson here is, if you're stupid enough to cheat, be smart enough not to get caught. Ryut. Valorant's Vanguard system may be good, but it isn't perfect, as they disappointingly found out during their official TGS Signature Series. The tournament had a grand prize of $2,000, attracting the best of the best teams from around the world. However, during a quarterfinals match, Team Tokyo player Ryut stunned the audience with his skills, and not in a good way.
Ryut's gonna get pushed back a little bit.
So good
piece by piece, they'll work this.
Rare, taking out Good Steve. We spoke about Good Steve's performance, and okay, traded back in kind for Raya as well.
Did you see that? Okay, this footage is from tournament mode, so Ryut shouldn't have been able to see the figures in red here. But his crosshairs instantly locked in on an enemy behind the wall, completely ignoring the visible enemy in front of him.
40.
And the proof is in the bullet holes. That's an aimbot hack if there ever was one. The clip quickly went viral within the Valorant community, and Ryut's account was
Got it as good as I'm gonna get it.
Sayonara, cheater. Nick A30. Being caught cheating for a cash prize may be bad, but being caught cheating in a charity match is worse. During the 2020 Twitch Rivals Fortnite Streamer Bowl, popular streamer Nick A30 was paired with NFL player David Morgan as part of the Fortnite tournament. The victor would win part of the $500,000 prize pool for charities of their choice. To make it fair, the rules specified where on the Fortnite's map the players could land. If the players landed outside this zone, they'd get a warning. Repeated warnings would
you guys
cost
can't see
players
that. Hang on.
points and eventually get them removed from the tournament. Pretty straightforward. Except Nick had a different strategy in mind.
Exactly what
Yeah.
did last time.
So I think what we want to do, because remember, we get a warning.
That is true.
We don't
I mean, he
get
plays
pushed
all
off,
around
then we
this
just go
area.
back
That's
in.
Stevie Sachs, as does Nate Hill.
It's not a
We've
bad
seen
thing.
him land here.
Sorry to say, Nick, but being caught chatting about trying to cheat on a charity stream is definitely a bad thing. The pair ultimately ended up landing outside the allowed zone, annoying a lot of the other players taking part. Even though
Yeah.
they technically cheated, they ended up placing
Yeah.
sixth
I think I'm
and
gonna wait to
won
put stuff up on the
$30,000 for
walls.
their charity.
Like, other than that,
Okay, so it's not the
so that I can
worst
mount
cheat in
it over
history.
the
If anything, it was
the
cheating
pads,
for
I
a
think.
good cause. But
I'm
Nick's
planning on getting more
actions
acoustic
really
pads.
split the Fortnite community as he walked away without punishment. So, what do you think? Did Nick deserve to be reprimanded, or was cheating for charity an okay thing to do? Let me know down in the comments. Captain Baldy. Some of the
When we get to the
cheaters
end of
in
this
these
video, we're probably
online
gonna take a
games
break
are
so I can
so
take the
dumb,
doggy
they can
out.
be baited into revealing
Oh, actually,
their
there's another
hacks in the
15
most
minutes. Maybe we'll
obvious
go ahead and take a break real
Case
quick
in
after this
point is our
story.
next Twitch streamer caught cheating, Captain Baldy. A fan of claiming a high score in Call of Duty Warzone, this guy got a little
Where's
too
my-
cocky
hang on,
and
I gotta find
began
one
hitting
thing.
enemy players through the walls. His chat wasn't happy, and so they demanded to see his task manager to prove he wasn't running any illicit programs in the background. He acted like nothing was wrong and happily hit Control-Alt-Delete to bring it up. But he forgot where all his windows were, and something else came up on his stream capture instead.
No, control delete.
Control delete.
Wait, but do you have it on window? No, control delete test.
If you watched part 1 of the series, you might recognize that all too familiar Engine Owning pop-up. Engine Owning are a company that make cheap cheats for games like Warzone, including, as Captain Baldy just showed the world, the old aim at enemies aimbot function. And would you look at that, he has it set to on. To his credit, he quickly realized his mistake, but the viewers in his chat were even quicker.
Oh my god, it's over. It's over.
They crucified Captain Baldy, and he was temporarily banned from Warzone as well as Twitch soon after. Twitch eventually reinstated his account, but since then, all his streaming efforts have been inundated by people calling him a cheater. Well, they're not wrong. Annie Rog. You might be thinking that it's just PC or console games that people can cheat on, but thanks to Rogstream, we know they can cheat on mobile games as well. Rogstream is run by Indian YouTuber Aparna, also known as Annie. She's attracted more than 360,000 subscribers on YouTube and 2.2 million on Facebook by playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG, mobile. Now, for the most part, she plays it through the game's official emulator on her PC, which makes sense considering she's also streaming. However, at the beginning of one of her matches back in 2019, something odd flashed up on her stream. Now, I don't play PUBG, but I'm pretty sure that big yellow lines showing the enemy's location, name, and stats shouldn't show up for you. Annie didn't think so either, as you can tell by her look of pure panic. It was pretty clear
get
she was
fucked.
using some sort of wall hack or ESP hack, so she quickly exited the match and tried to explain that she didn't know what it was. But the gaming community didn't believe a word she said. She later uploaded an apology video admitting she had been using hacks, begging her followers for forgiveness, and promising to do better. Looks like the only thing she played here was herself. Franco R.
I do want to say my office feels so much more cozier right now. I mean, obviously there's stuff everywhere, but the layout feels a little bit cozier. I like it. I'm happy so far. I had to pee. The dog has to pee. Honestly, I don't know how much more I want to do on stream tonight. I might just power through putting the rest of this together off stream, so that way I can come back and we can just do Legos and other stuff on the next stream. I'm focusing on not pissing myself right now, so I'm trying to probably do a quick outro for the stream. So yeah, thank you guys for paying attention to my nonsense and me building stuff and rearranging my office, just because, you know, every stream doesn't have to be me gaming, and I just wanted to do this with my community and hang out with whoever wanted to stop by and watch. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just end the stream because I gotta pee. The dog gotta pee. I will see you guys later. Probably tomorrow, maybe Sunday. I don't know exactly. But yeah, I will be back. I'll see you guys later.